their fingerprints on the other person's face. Are you okay? I'm fine. We're going to the police station later, so could you please look after her? It's not convenient for her to come with us like this. Okay, no problem. Since we've already called the police, we should let them handle it from here. Gufong looked down at Su Liuli next to him and reached out to gently help her up. Hey, Gufong, why are you here? Su Liuli, who had just gotten up, was overjoyed when she opened her eyes and saw Gufong. Since she was drunk, she simply hugged him and wouldn't let go. Lu Xiaoyu couldn't help but smile when she saw this. Liuli was calling out your name just now, she really likes you. You have to treat her well. Lu Xiaoyu said this, and Gufong looked down at Su Liuli in his arms. The other person was lying in his arms, once again snoring loudly. Okay. Gufong helped Su Liuli walk out of the Qin Yuan bistro. When they saw Wang Mani and Dong Zhejia outside, they came up to them together. Gufong, this is some glucose I bought for Liuli, give her a little to drink later. Wang Mani handed over a bag containing 2 glucose tablets. Okay, thanks. Liuli. Take care of yourself, and call us if anything happens. Xiaoyu, let's go. After handing Su Liuli over to Gufong, the two of them were ready to accompany Lu Xiaoyu to the police station to make a statement. Looking at Su Liuli, who was lying in his arms, Gufong couldn't help but laugh. At this time of night, there was no way he could take Su Liuli back to the dormitory. The girls' dormitory was not a place he could go into. Taking the glucose in his hands, he used both hands to lift Su Liuli up. He had already drunk quite a lot of alcohol himself, and now he had to carry someone else as well. He took every step carefully, for fear of stumbling. They passed the school gate and continued walking straight ahead. They arrived at the hotel they had stayed at before, but this time, neither of them had brought their ID cards. Luckily, the receptionist was very nice and offered to look after Su Liuli while Gufong ran back to the dormitory to get his ID card. He brought the ID card, booked a room again, and then brought Su Liuli in. In just a few days, they had already stayed outside 3 times, and no one would believe them if they said nothing had happened. He gently put Su Liuli on the bed and took off the other person's shoes. He was about to get the quilt when Su Liuli slowly opened her eyes. When she saw Gufong standing next to the bed, she thought she was dreaming. Gufong wanted to kiss. She struggled to get up, put her arms around Gufeng's neck, pouted, and kissed him. It was so fast that Gufong didn't even react. A trace of softness flashed across his lips, and his head was almost blank. It was only after 10 whole seconds that he reached out and put his arms around Su Liuli's waist, making her lie down again obediently. Liuli, if you keep this up, I really won't be able to hold back anymore. He looked at Su Liuli on the bed with a bitter smile. He was a man after all, and coupled with the fact that he had been drinking, his willpower was not strong, so how could he withstand such temptation? Chapter 32, I am a gentleman. It is said that women are like flowers, blooming and delicate. Now, Su Liuli was lying on the bed, her jade-like neck pink and her cheeks flushed, looking more charming than a blooming flower by many times. After staring at her for a long time, Gufong suddenly felt dry in his mouth and tongue, and he really couldn't hold back anymore. No! Wash your face, wash your face. A man with full masculine energy, not Lu Xiaoyu, who can resist this temptation? He turned around and entered the bathroom, standing by the sink and washing his face with cold water for a long time. When he came out of the bathroom again, he looked up at Su Liuli in bed. This. Su Liuli, who was originally lying flat, has now sat up and is looking down and spitting in the trash can. It may be because he didn't eat much, and after vomiting for a long time, he didn't vomit much. He hurriedly went to the bed and helped Su Liuli get up. After completely letting Su Li lie down, Gufong realized that the vomit from earlier had stained his clothes. Not only his clothes, but Su Li's clothes also had quite a bit of it. The area was not large, but the smell was quite pungent. Is a glass of vodka that powerful? Sigh. With a light sigh, Gufong was full of helplessness. It was obvious that Su Li definitely was not the type of person to drink alcohol in his usual life, otherwise he would not have gotten drunk like this from just one glass of vodka. Frowning, he looked at himself and then at the filth on Su Liuli's body. Liuli, you have to believe me, I really am a gentleman. I need to wash our clothes, otherwise there's no way we can wear them tomorrow. Mumbling to Su Liuli, and seeing that she didn't react, Gufong quickly took off his short-sleeved shirt. He was young, and with regular exercise, his skin was still quite radiant. Holding his shirt in his hands, he put it by the sink and returned to the bed to look at Su Liuli. It was easy to take off his own clothes, but how was he going to take off Su Luli's? It was a whole dress, and although only the top half was stained, it could only be washed if it was taken off completely. After standing by the bedside for a long time, Gu Feng still didn't dare to do it. A gentleman, I am a gentleman. He silently repeated in his heart, and Gu Feng raised his hand, about to help Su Luli take off her clothes. Unexpectedly, the other person seemed to feel uncomfortable. In a daze, she unzipped the back of her dress halfway. Her fragrant shoulders were exposed, her skin was as white as snow, her willowy eyebrows curved, and with a slight state of drunkenness, Gu Feng's eyes were fixed. Indecent exposure, indecent exposure. As God is my witness, I didn't take it off, you took it off yourself. Mumbling to himself, he resisted the pounding in his heart and took advantage of the opportunity to strike while the iron was hot. He took off the white dress awkwardly. He narrowed his eyes and quickly covered the other person with the quilt. Although his actions were quick, he still saw everything clearly. Before his head got hot, he grabbed Su Liuli's clothes and quickly entered the bathroom. Standing next to the sink, he first washed his short-sleeved shirt clean. Then he cleaned the dirt on the front of Su Liuli's skirt. Worried that it wouldn't dry by tomorrow morning, she only washed the top half of the skirt. After half an hour of busy work, she washed the clothes and hung them in the bathroom. She took out the hair dryer next to her and blew the clothes until they were half dry. Phew! They should be dry by tomorrow morning. After finishing everything, Gu Feng re-entered the bathroom. Looking at Su Liuli sleeping on the bed, her face flushed with a slight wine haze, her complexion even more radiant. Wait! Dextrose! Yes, dextrose. After staring at Su Luli for a long time, Gu Feng suddenly remembered that before he returned, Su Luli's roommate Wang Mani had given him 2 dextrose tablets. He took out the 2 dextrose tablets from the bag and found 2 disposable paper cups under the bedside table. He broke the dextrose tablets and poured them all into the paper cups. Luli, get up and drink something. He sat by the bed and reached out to help Su Luli up. After drinking some glucose, he put Su Lili back down again. The other person was quietly asleep. Looking at the remaining glucose in the paper cup, Gu Feng hesitated for a moment, then tilted his head and gulped it down. It would be a waste if he didn't drink it. After drinking the glucose, it was already very late after all the tossing and turning. There was only one large bed in the room, and there was not even a large sofa around it. There was only a chair in the corner. There was no choice. It seemed that tonight he would have to make do with Su Lili in bed for now. Fortunately, the bed was large, and Su Luli slept closer to the edge. Even when he lay down, there was still a long distance between the two of them. Gu Feng turned off the bedside lamp and fell into a deep sleep. In his sleep, he vaguely felt a warm body intrude into his arms. Perhaps it was because he had drunk too much, Gu Feng did not wake up immediately. I don't know how long it was. Gu Feng, who was still dreaming, suddenly heard a cry of alarm in his ear. Ah! The sudden scream scared Gu Feng straight and he sat up. What's wrong? Looking around, he came back to his senses and realized that in the corner of the bed, Su Lili was curled up in a ball, hugging the quilt. Looking down at himself, he saw that he was half naked, with only shorts covering his lower body. It's not Lioli, don't get me wrong, let me explain. Judging from Su Liuli's expression, it was obvious that she had misunderstood him. Gu Feng wanted to explain, but before he could, Su Liuli spoke first, hugging the quilt. Can you please put your clothes on first? Oh. Okay. Nodding in agreement, Gu Feng quickly got out of bed. If he didn't explain this matter clearly, he would really be unable to clear his name even if he jumped into the Huanghua River. If he really did it, it wouldn't be too unfair, but the point was that he really hadn't done anything. If he was wronged, then he would be the modern version of Doi. Wait a minute. Can you bring my clothes over too? Su Lioli blushed slightly. She was only wearing 2 pieces of underwear, and she couldn't keep hugging the quilt while talking. Promptly agreed, went into the bathroom to put on her short-sleeved shirt first, and then picked up Su Luli's white long skirt. After being blown by the hairdryer, the long skirt finally dried. Holding the long skirt, she came to the bedside. Su Luli looked up silently, her eyebrows raised and her eyes looking at Gu Feng. Her nose was delicate and her skin was as white as snow. The corner of her mouth lifted slightly, and she didn't seem as angry as Gu Feng had imagined. Luli, you're not angry? Gu Feng was full of surprise as he held the white skirt in his hands. In response to Gu Feng's question, Su Liuli's red lips curled up into a playful smile and she said, "Why should I be angry?" With just a single sentence, she left Gu Feng speechless. Indeed, when he thought about it, it was true. Nothing had happened, so why should she be angry? "Give me the clothes. Turn around, I want to get dressed." He placed the white dress in front of Su Liuli, turned his face towards the bathroom, and behind him a rustling sound could be heard. "Okay." I waited until Su Lily said she was done getting dressed before turning around. "You threw up a lot last night, and you accidentally got it on your clothes, so I wanted to help you take them off and wash them. Of course, the same goes for my clothes." Su Lily put on her shoes and stood in front of him as Gu Feng carefully explained. "I know. Although I was groggy, I have some recollection of it. And thank you for last night." Lu Mei raised her eyebrows slightly, her eyes wandering, silently staring at Gu Feng. Gu Feng didn't do anything to her last night, and from this, one could see what kind of person he was. The reason she exclaimed this morning was mainly because she found that she had once again slipped into Gu Feng's arms. Last time, at least she was wearing clothes, but this time was different, she was only wearing underwear, while Gu Feng's upper body was not wearing anything. When their skin touched, she didn't react for a moment, which is why she exclaimed and got up. Chapter 33 Happiness came too suddenly. "Thank me?" Stared at by Su Liuli, Gu Feng was first stunned, then he scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. Happiness came so suddenly that it was almost unbelievable. He had thought that there would be misunderstandings, but he never expected the other person to not suspect him at all. "To express my gratitude, I'll buy you breakfast. You fold the quilt, and I'll wash up." With her beautiful, watery eyes blinking twice, Su Liuli bypassed Gu Feng and walked straight to the bathroom. Gu Feng waited until the other person had completely entered the bathroom before starting to fold the quilt. Normally, no one would take the initiative to fold the quilt when they stay in a hotel. But for some reason, after waking up, Su Liuli would fold the quilt neatly every time she stayed in a hotel. Sitting by the bed, she waited quietly for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, Su Liuli, who had finished packing, came out of the bathroom, went to the front desk to check out, and the two walked out of the hotel. "What do you want to eat? Want some xiaolong bao? I'll buy you some." Following Gu Feng's lead, Su Li turned around. "There's a shop outside the school that makes really good xiaolong bao. It's a bit expensive, but the ingredients are of really good quality." "Great. No problem." He wasn't picky about food anyway, and since it was the girl buying, he didn't really have a say. Su Li kept walking, and when they were almost at the school gate, the two of them stopped in front of a xiaolong bao shop. It was early in the morning, but there were still quite a few people eating. The room was full of people, and there were even quite a few sitting at the tables outside. "Grandma, give us 2 baskets of dumplings." "Oh, Su girl, what brings you here today?" Outside the dumpling shop, there were only 2 people, a young girl and an old grandmother with silver hair. The grandmother was very surprised to see Su Liuli. "Grandma, I got up a little early today because I had some things to do." "Oh. Okay, you sit down first, I'll bring the dumplings to you myself." Well. The old lady was quite busy, so Su Li didn't bother her too much. Standing not far behind Su Li, and after the other person had turned around, Gu Feng couldn't help but ask curiously, "Li, you seem to know this old lady quite well. Did you often come here to eat before?" While asking, the two of them walked to an empty table and sat down. "I worked part-time here for a year during my freshman year." Just like that girl. Looking at the girl in the shop wearing an apron and bustling about, Su Li felt a lot of emotions. She seemed to see her own reflection in the other person. "You worked here to earn money?" Gu Feng was slightly surprised. Su Luli was the school beauty queen of Fuxing University, and he really didn't expect the other person to work in a bun shop. "Of course. It's just that later, because there were more classes in my sophomore year, I didn't have much time, so I didn't keep doing it. It wasn't until my junior year that I found a part-time job in a kindergarten again." Su Luli whispered, and her grandmother just happened to bring 2 baskets of steamed buns over. "Su girl. This is your boyfriend?" Grandma Su Luli asked with a kind smile as she set down the steamed buns and looked at Gu Feng. Facing her grandmother's inquiry, Su Luli nodded slightly, a little embarrassed. "Little girl, you have good taste, the young man is very energetic. You two eat first, if there isn't enough to go around for Grandma, I'll get you more." Considering that there was still a lot to do in the shop, the elderly woman didn't stay for long. She picked up a steamed bun and ate half of it in one bite. It's not bad, actually. This little bun is quite delicious. It's hard to imagine that such a small bun can have so much juice. Suli, you've been working part-time because. Gu Feng's eyes hesitated, and he wanted to say something but couldn't. He didn't want to ask too many questions about Suli's family situation, but seeing that the other person had been working part-time, he couldn't bear to. My family's situation is quite special. Although I have a scholarship for tuition, I still have to rely on myself for school life. His tone was very calm, and Gu Feng, sitting next to him, could not hear any grievances in Su Lily's tone. So what about your family? My parents divorced before I started elementary school, and my mother went abroad. Not long after that, my father passed away, and I've been living with my grandfather ever since. He's not in good health, and it's already very difficult for him to support me through junior high and high school. I work part-time at school, and sometimes I can even send him some money. Compared to just now, Su Lily's mood was obviously a bit low. He held a bun on a chopstick and looked at Su Lily silently. He didn't know how to comfort her. No wonder she had cried when he had crouched down to help her with her shoes in the shopping mall. Perhaps, since she had started primary school, no one had cared about her like this except her grandfather. It's okay, I've been used to it for a long time. If you don't eat the Xiaolong Bao, it will get cold. Pointing at the Xiaolong Bao in front of Gu Feng, she, a girl, had already eaten half of the buns, while Gu Feng had just finished one. Oh, I'll eat it. In front of Su Lili, Gu Feng quickly finished the Xiaolong Bao in front of him. When it was time to pay, the old lady in the restaurant refused to take the money no matter what. In the end, Su Lili had no choice but to put the cash on the counter and quickly leave with Gu Feng. It was still early when they returned to school, so the two of them decided to go back to the dormitory first. When he pushed open the dormitory door, the scene was exactly as he had imagined. Xiao Kai, Jiang Yu, and Zhang Tini were all fast asleep on their beds. They didn't even react when he pushed the door open. They were really sound asleep. He raised his hand to check the time. It was just after 6 o'clock, and there was still nearly an hour before they had to get up at 7. He took off his shoes and climbed into bed, where he lay down and prepared to catch up on some sleep. Time passed by minute. Before long, it was 8 o'clock. Zhang Tini was the first to wake up. When he saw Gu Feng lying on the bed opposite, he thought he was mistaken and rubbed his eyes hard. Gu Feng? No, didn't you go out to stay last night? When did he come back? Last night, he and Xiao Kai took Jiang Yu back to the dormitory and planned to call and ask later. Before he could start, Gu Feng pushed the door open. He rummaged through the drawer and found his ID card, said hello casually and turned to leave. Ha! Tainyo, you're awake. Gu Feng got up silently. In the distance, Xiao Kai and Jiang Yu also woke up one after the other. Gu Feng? You're back. Xiao Kai asked calmly. Opposite Xiao Kai, Jiang Yu was full of question marks. Gu Feng, weren't you in the dormitory last night? I seem to have blacked out yesterday. Rubbing his head, Jiang Yu muttered to himself. It's true, my head is still a bit fuzzy. Jiang Yu, you'd better stop. With your drinking capacity, you can't even drink as much as my cat. Next time you go out, you'd better bring your own juice. Chapter 34, Overpriced. Damn it, Kai, do you look down on me? Stunned and angered by Xiao Kai's merciless mockery, Jiang Yu stared at him with wide eyes. Ha ha ha. I didn't, you said it yourself. Alright, hurry up and clean up so we can grab some breakfast. After Zhang Tinia finished speaking, he was the first to roll out of bed. Seeing this, Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai followed suit. Gu Feng, aren't you going to get up and clean up? I already did. Okay. The three got out of bed and started tidying up. After washing up and getting dressed, it was already too late for breakfast. They sat in the dormitory and waited for 5 or 6 minutes. After 5 or 6 minutes, the four of them hurried to the playground to gather. In the morning, they practiced military posture for the whole morning. After lunch, they continued to practice military posture in formation in the afternoon, running around the playground for an unknown number of laps. They waited until 6 p.m., when it was time to rest, before the instructor announced that they could rest. Fuck. Finally it's over. I'm really tired today. Yes, I didn't really get any rest today. As soon as the instructor announced the end of the day, murmurs could be heard all around. Everyone felt particularly tired from the military training, and of course, Gu Feng and Jiang Yu were no exception. No, I can't go on. Tainyo, who's going to the cafeteria with Xiaokai? Can you bring me back a pancake? My body is so weak, if I walk any further I'm going to fall apart. Jiang Yu squatted on the ground, her face flushed. Standing in military position is already tiring enough, but I didn't expect to have to run for such a long time. Jiang Yu, you are really weak. I'll go to the cafeteria and bring you a pancake. Tai Niu, can you bring me one as well? Xiaokai's mouth twitched twice, and he looked bitter. Okay. Bring them all. Gu Feng, do you want me to bring you one as well? He turned his head to look at Gu Feng. Compared to Xiaokai and Jiang Yu, Gu Feng looked slightly better, at least he was still energetic. No, I have something to do later. I have an appointment, I have to go first. It was already past 6 o'clock, and the appointment with Yunding Technology Development Company was after 6 o'clock. Fuxing Road was not very far from here, but it would take more than 20 minutes to walk. They watched as Gu Feng left, and Zhang Tiniu and Jiang Yu looked at each other in confusion. Is this kid Gu Feng going on a date with Miss Su? It doesn't look like it. Whatever, let's go back first, I need a good night's sleep. Gu Feng's gaze shifted away, and Jiang Yu struggled to get up, holding on to Xiaokai as they walked out of the playground. Gu Feng hurried to the school gate. He scanned the area, then flagged down a taxi. Fuxing Hotel, Fuxing Road, he said. Oh. The taxi driver agreed, put the accelerator down, and in less than 10 minutes, the car came to a stop in front of the Fuxing Hotel. Gu Feng got out of the car, took out his phone, found the number that had called him, and redialed. Do. Hello? Mr. Gu. The call connected, but a mature and seductive voice came from the other end. Hearing the voice, Gu Feng put down the phone, looked behind him with a puzzled expression. Not far behind, he saw a woman in business attire standing still. She looked no more than 30 years old, and when she saw Gu Feng, she gave a charming smile. Holding the phone, the beautiful young woman walked slowly up to Gu Feng. Mr. Gu. On the phone, I heard that you sounded very young, and indeed, you are indeed such a young talent. Are you Mr. Wan's secretary? Yes, Mr. Gu. Introduce yourself, my name is Annie, you can call me Shaoan. With a smile on her face, Annie offered her hand. She could only be described as pretty, but with a devilishly hot body, she was a deadly temptation to the average man. But for him, she was obviously not quite hot enough. Putting aside Su Luli's peerless beauty, even before his rebirth, the secretaries around him were almost all of this caliber. After a brief handshake, Gu Feng immediately asked, Secretarian, where is President Wang? Mr. Wang is waiting for you inside. I'll take you in. Gu Feng spoke without changing his expression, and a flash of disbelief flashed in Annie's eyes. Gu Feng was so young, and he had an unruffled manner of dealing with things. Gu Feng was taken into the Lucky Star Hotel, and under the guidance of a waiter, the two arrived outside the private room. Pushing open the door to the private room, a middle-aged man with a receding hairline was sitting in the main seat. He was plump and not very tall. Seeing Annie bring Gu Feng in, Wang Li immediately got up. Mr. Wang, this is Mr. Gu. Mr. Gu, this is our technical development manager, Mr. Wang. As Wang Li stood up, Annie took the initiative to introduce the two of them. Ha. Mr. Gu. I have long admired your name. I heard from Professor Wu that you are young and accomplished. I never imagined that I would meet you today, and you are truly extraordinary. At your age, to have achieved so much is truly humbling. As soon as he saw Gu Feng, Wang Li began to flatter him. He was never really interested in flattery, so he simply shook Wang's hand and got straight to the point. Mr. Wang, you're very kind. Let's sit down and talk. Yes. Let's sit down and talk. Annie, go tell the waiter to bring the food, and Mr. Gu and I will talk while we eat. Annie immediately went outside to tell the waiter to bring the food. Mr. Wang, since you were introduced by Professor Wu, I won't hide anything. I plan to buy your Yunding technology development. What price do you think is appropriate? Gu Feng calmly took a sip from the glass in front of him. It seemed that he did not expect Gu Feng to be so direct. Wang Li was stunned for a second, and then smiled awkwardly. If Mr. Gu is so willing, I am not a person who is slow to act. Although it is claimed that the business is not doing well, in reality, it is just that we do not have the strength to do anything. Those of us in technology have been seriously overworked for a long time. You can see from my hair. Wang Li pointed at his forehead with a bitter smile. These are a few projects that our company is currently working on. Each project has a profit point. If you are interested, I can sell Yunding technology for 600,000 yuan, excluding working capital. Wang Li handed the prepared materials to Gu Feng and stated the price in his mind. Gu Feng carefully read the documents handed over by the other party. President Wang, in my opinion, these projects are all small projects, and even if they are profitable, they will only make a few tens of thousands of dollars. The price of 600,000 is a bit high. Don't look at him as young now, but before his rebirth, he was the president in charge of the Kyushu Group. If he doesn't even have this level of insight, how can he control the huge Kyushu Group? President Wang, President Gu, the food is ready. Annie brought in the waiter and served all the dishes that had been prepared in one go. According to President Gu, how much are you prepared to offer? Chapter 35, Confessing Tonight? Sitting leisurely in his chair, Wang Li looked at him calmly, and Gu Feng silently raised his palm. 500,000. Including these items. At 500,000, the price is not high, but not too low either, given the scale of Yunding's technology development. It's well within Wang Li's affordability. 500,000. President Gu, 500,000 is a bit low. Can you raise the price a bit? How about 550,000? Wang Li wanted to continue the discussion, but Gu Feng was very firm in his attitude and shook his head slightly. The price cannot be increased. President Wang should also know that the price of 500,000 yuan is not a loss for you. I can offer this price, and this price is my upper limit. I hope President Wang can think about it carefully. Gu Feng was so firm, and Wang Li's face looked slightly unpleasant. After a long silence, he finally nodded. If this opportunity is not properly seized, it will be unknown when someone else can take over next time. Mr. Gu, when will the contract be signed? When will Mr. Wang have time? Although the company is to be sold, it will definitely not be sold immediately. At the very least, there must be a buffer period of a few days. Mr. Gu, how about a week from now? I will handle the remaining matters during this time, and a week from now, Yunding will officially be in your hands. No problem. Gu Feng agreed without hesitation. After a few bites of food, he was seen off by Annie and Wang Li before leaving the restaurant. The following week was spent in military training every day, including Saturdays and Sundays. The final day of training ended with a closing ceremony, and the 10-day training period came to a perfect end. Oh my god, it's finally over. Jian Yu let out a wail of relief. Yes, the 10-day training period is finally over. We're lucky. My classmates from the school next door had to do military training for a whole month. Xiao Kai muttered to himself. Military training started on September 1st and lasted a whole month. It didn't end until the October 1st National Day holiday. Compared to them, we're really lucky. Guys, should we celebrate tonight? Celebrate? Forget it. With your drinking ability, I don't want to drag you home again. Xiao Kai shook his head and went out to drink with Jiang Yu. That was just asking for trouble. Jiang Yu, I'm really not doing well today. I have a date, some other time. Tainyo, you've got a girlfriend, haven't you? Xiao Kai cheerfully walked up to Zhang Tainyo. During this time, he and Jiang Yu had been eating dinner together a lot, and as for Zhang Tainyo and Gu Feng, they disappeared as soon as dinner time came. Gu Feng is still normal, he has to accompany his girlfriend Su Shui, but who is Zhang Tainyo going to accompany? This awkward smile and scratching of the head. Seeing Zhang Tainyo in this state, Gu Feng couldn't help but wonder, Tainyo, have you really got a girlfriend? In the last life, when they graduated from college, all four of them were single. Unexpectedly, in this life, Zhang Tainyo has also found a girlfriend. Gu Feng, Jiang Yu, and Xiao Kai have not actually found girlfriends either. Maybe they just have a good impression of me. As he spoke, Zhang Tainyo's face actually flushed with a blush. The rough, northern man was now blushing. My goodness. Tainyo, you really are a fool. How can you let a girl take the initiative in this kind of thing? What's under your nose for? Sweet talk, sugar-coated words, you have to go for it. Although Xiao Kai has never had a girlfriend, he is full of theoretical experience. Feeling that Xiao Kai's words make a lot of sense, Zhang Tainyo pauses slightly, scratches his head and smiles awkwardly. So what should I do? Confess tonight? Confess tonight? Wait and see. Gu Feng quickly raises his hand to stop him. Tainyo, although it is not recommended to drag this kind of thing out for too long, you can't rush things. You still have to think about it for a long time. Why don't you ask around tonight to see if the girl really has a crush on you? Yes, Gu Feng is right. Find out first, and talk about confessing in the next 2 days. As the saying goes, two heads are better than one. Zhang Tinia listened very carefully to the ideas that Gu Feng and the others came up with. The others on the playground left one after another, and only Gu Feng and the others were still standing in the same place, discussing heatedly. Why don't we just do this for now, and let's talk about it tonight when we get back? Yes. Jiang Yu suggested discussing the situation again tonight, and Gu Feng and the others had no objections. They left the playground together, Zhang Tinia heading to the school cafeteria, Xiao Kai and Jiang Yu returning to the dormitory, and only Gu Feng standing still and waiting quietly. 5 or 6 minutes later, an elegant girl appeared behind Gu Feng. She was wearing a long, light yellow dress, and the shoes she was wearing were the same ones Gu Feng had bought from the mall. The long dress and high heels showed off her perfect figure. She quietly came up behind Gu Feng, raised her hands and gently covered her eyes. Guess who I am? Her eyes were suddenly covered, and behind her came the voice of Su Liuli, muffled. Liuli? How did you know it was me? Hearing Gu Feng call out her name, Su Liuli immediately let go of her hands, her soft lips pursed up slightly, and her eyes were clear and watery, which was very cute. The voice seems a bit different. But I'm familiar with the smell on you. Gu Feng explained seriously. Upon hearing this, Su Liuli lowered her head and sniffed lightly. Is it the smell of shampoo? She never wears perfume, so the only possibility is the smell of shampoo. I don't know, it could also be body odor. Ha! Gu Feng said it was body odor, and Su Liuli was slightly taken aback, but then she smiled and said with sparkling eyes, What body odor? Are you being improper? She spoke with a hint of embarrassment. No. I'm very proper. Gu Feng spread his hands and gave an innocent expression. Okay, today's military training is over, shall we go out for a walk? Have you been to the center of the city? Su Liuli looked at Gu Feng with longing. It had only been a dozen days since the start of the semester, and if he hadn't been to the city before, Gu Feng definitely hadn't explored the city center. As an international metropolis, the city's prosperity was comparable to that of the imperial capital, but it was still one of the top major cities. Sure. I've been to the city center a few times. Before I was reborn, I went to the center of the Demon City more than once, and I even stayed at the Oriental Pearl Hotel in the Demon City for a whole month. Then let's set off now. Okay. Gu Feng and Su Liuli paired up and walked together towards the outside of the school. From here to the center of the Demon City, Gu Feng originally wanted to take a taxi, but before he could even lift his hand, Su Liuli dragged him towards a bus stop on the side. A bus is 2 yuan, a taxi is 100 yuan. The bus is more appropriate. Chapter 36, Top Client. Gu Feng couldn't help but ask, a taxi costs 100 yuan? Is it that expensive? Of course, this is Shanghai. It's normal to pay dozens of yuan to get from here to the city center. What if there's traffic? Taking the bus is better and more economical. Su Liuli stood there and explained seriously. Once she said it, Gu Feng himself felt that it made a lot of sense. They waited for the bus at the roadside stop. As it was the first stop for Fuxing University, there were quite a few people waiting here. Of course, 99% of them were students from Fuxing University. In less than 5 minutes, the bus slowly approached the stop. One after the other, everyone lined up to get on the bus. Thankfully, the two of them happened to find an empty seat. Sit here. Su Liuli took Gu Feng's hand and asked him to sit quietly. The bus started moving. It takes about 50 minutes to travel from Fuxing University to the city center in non-traffic conditions, but if there is traffic, it is hard to estimate the exact time. Along the way, the bus did not travel slowly. In less than an hour, Gu Feng and Su Liuli got off the bus together. The pedestrian street in front of them was very lively, so they went over to have a look. Standing next to Gu Feng, Su Liuli pointed her finger forward. This pedestrian street in front of them can definitely be called the busiest pedestrian street in the center of the metropolis. There are shops all around, and I don't know how many people there are every day. Well. Following Su Liuli, I entered the pedestrian street with her. I have to say, Shanghai is Shanghai, and the pedestrian street here is quite prosperous. There are all kinds of big brand shops, and there are also snack shops everywhere. Are you hungry? Pausing, Su Liuli's big, watery eyes looked at Gu Feng. Dressed in a long, pale yellow dress, she stood tall and graceful in front of Gu Feng. Every gesture she made had an air of elegance about her. Su Liuli turned to ask Gu Feng a question, and the people passing by, both men and women, couldn't help but stare. Beautiful women were common, but a beauty like Su Liuli, who could enchant the world, was hard to come by. I'm fine, I'm not hungry. It's noon, let's go buy something to eat. Let's go. Took the initiative to hold Gu Feng's hand, feeling the temperature of Su Liuli's delicate hands. Gu Feng was a little embarrassed instead. Su Liuli's temperament was like a fairy, and it would be difficult for anyone to remain calm when a girl like this took the initiative to hold their hand. Following Su Liuli's pace, the two arrived in front of a dim sum shop. Hello, what can I get for you? Seeing that there were customers, the waiter inside immediately greeted them warmly. Please weigh some dim sum for us. I want this and this, a little bit of everything. Okay. The waiter nodded and agreed, and then began to pack the dim sum in a box. From Su Liuli's skilled movements, it can be seen that she must often come here to buy dim sum. Hello, how much is it? When going out shopping with a girlfriend, you can't let the girl pay the bill. Gu Feng took a step forward, but before he could take out his phone, Su Liuli already took the lead and handed over a membership card. I'll treat you, there's still money on the card. She had applied for this card when she went out with some roommates before, and there was still more than 100 yuan in it. The snacks you just chose cost almost exactly 100 yuan. Just swipe your card. Yes, ma'am. After receiving the membership card with both hands, she did not forget to hand the receipt and the membership card to Su Liuli together after the transaction. Welcome back next time. Thank you. Carrying the snacks, Su Liuli opened the bag in front of Gu Feng. Although the snacks here are very expensive, they taste delicious. Try some. In public, she took a piece of dim sum from the bag and gently held it to Gu Feng's mouth. Su Li's face was beaming with a smile, as if she hadn't realized how intimate this action seemed to others. She opened her mouth and took a large bite of the dim sum. After tasting it carefully, a flash of light passed through Gu Feng's eyes. He nodded while chewing and said, it's good. It's really delicious. It smells very fragrant, but it's not too sweet, and you can faintly sense a floral aroma. Hee. I'm hungry too. In front of Gu Feng, she took the remaining half of the snack in her hand and brought it to her mouth, taking a small bite. Holding the snack in her hand, Su Liuli walked and ate all the while. From time to time, she would feed Gu Feng a few bites. In about 10 minutes, both boxes of snacks were gone, one of them completely. Liuli, I suddenly have a strange feeling. Gu Feng said with a smile as he followed Su Liuli. Upon hearing this, Su Liuli was taken aback, and curiosity flashed across her pure and flawless face. What delusion! I feel like I'm being kept. During this period of time, whenever they went out to eat, he never had the chance to pay the bill. Almost every time, it was Su Liuli who paid. Everyone else spends money on their girlfriends, but in his case, it's the girlfriend spending money on him. Keep me if you want, I can afford it. Su Liuli's eyes narrowed slightly, and she gave a playful smile. Hearing this, Gu Feng was at a loss for words for a moment, and could only shake his head with a smile. The two of them continued to stroll side by side for 20 minutes, and after 20 minutes, Gu Feng stopped in his tracks. Liuli, do you want to go in and have a look? Century jewelry? Yes. It's very crowded inside, and it seems quite lively. Let's go in and have a look. The Century Jewelry chain store, Gu Feng has seen it in the imperial capital before. Last time, when my mother bought a birthday present for my grandmother, it seemed to be custom made by Century Jewelry. He took Su Liuli's wrist and walked straight into the jewelry store. The signboard at the entrance was very large, and after entering, they realized that the interior was even larger. It was divided into several areas: gold and silver jewelry, jade and jadeite, and top-notch gemstones. In each area, there were several salespeople at the counter, and everyone was very busy. After wandering around the gold and silver jewelry area, Gu Feng took Su Liuli to the jade and jadeite area. Looking inside through the glass case, any jade pendant was worth tens of thousands of dollars, and the most beautiful jade bracelet was even worth several $100,000. Everything here is so expensive. Su Liuli couldn't help but murmur as she stood next to Gu Feng and looked at the prices of the jadeite inside the counter. A few 100,000 yuan casually, who can afford it in general? It is indeed very expensive. Let's go to the gemstone area and have a look, it should be even more expensive there. Gu Feng brought Su Liuli to the gemstone area, and he was right. The price of all the gemstone necklaces and bracelets here was no less than 100,000 yuan. What's more, there were even several limited edition models not far away, with a price tag of 1 million yuan. There were many customers looking around, but very few actually dared to ask the salesperson to take out the jewelry and try it on. Su Liuli, does this necklace look good? Gu Feng walked up to the counter and pointed at the $1 million necklace in the glass case with one finger. The necklace was very exquisite. It was an emerald and agate pendant in the shape of a peace button, with a 5-pointed star hanging inside and various red and blue sapphires inlaid around it. It sparkled under the light. Su Luli looked at the necklace carefully. It really was very beautiful, but when she saw the price tag, she shook her head. With a necklace costing over 1 million yuan, she didn't think many of the people in the store could afford it. Hello, can we try on this necklace? Su Luli didn't answer, and Gu Feng pointed at the necklace inside the counter with his finger. The salesperson, who had been standing there doing nothing, thought his ears were playing tricks on him when he heard Gu Feng. Sir, you want to try on this necklace, right? Not quite sure, the saleswoman was slightly embarrassed and hurriedly confirmed again with Gu Feng. Yes. This is the Star of Peace. Sorry sir, this Star of Peace is a member's item, and you need to provide your membership account to try it on. Membership account? What is that? Gu Feng himself didn't know what the saleswoman meant by membership account, as he had never bought anything here before. There were quite a few people shopping nearby, and when they heard that Gu Feng wanted to try on a $1 million necklace, they couldn't help but stare over. The membership account is the mobile phone number you use to register as a member. Oh, the mobile phone number. I'll provide the membership account, and you can verify it. 156. My mother has shopped here before, so she must have a membership account here. Gu Feng immediately read out his mother's mobile phone number. The salesperson took out a tablet and entered the mobile phone number on it. When he saw the membership level, the salesperson was stunned. The lowest level receptionist registered with the membership reception was none other than the chairman himself. After refreshing several times in a row, the chairman himself still appeared. I'm sorry, sir, there may be a problem with our system. Please wait a moment, I'll go ask our store manager. The salesperson was also very confused. She had never encountered such a situation before, and had only seen the lowest level receptionist being the store manager 2 or 3 times at most in the 10-odd years she had worked here. Holding the tablet, the salesperson quickly left. It was only now that Su Luli, who had been standing next to Gu Feng, slowly came to her senses. Gu Feng, this necklace is too expensive, I don't want to try it on. Her hands tightly grasped the hem of Gu Feng's clothes, and Su Lili's eyes were filled with a little nervousness. It's okay, just try it on. Reassuringly, he gently grasped Su Lili's hand while giving her a reassuring look. Gu Feng said this, so Su Lili had no choice but to obediently nod her head in agreement. Century Jewelry, Manager's Office. Knock, knock, knock. Come in. After saving the sorted monthly report, the manager looked up and looked at the door. Manager, please take a look. Is there a problem with this membership account? Sales came up to the manager quickly with a tablet in his hands. A problem with the membership account? Doubtful, he slowly got up and looked where Sales was pointing. He was shocked when he saw that the lowest level of reception was the chairman of the board. Where is this guest? Outside. You, go serve the guest first. Satisfy all the guest's needs, and I'll call headquarters right away. As store managers, they often go to headquarters for training. One of the most important parts of the training is big clients. What is a big client? The lowest level person you receive is the store manager, and they are all top level big clients. But there is also a very small minority of people, and the lowest level person they receive is the chairman of the board. When these types of clients appear, you must report to headquarters immediately and meet all of the client's needs. Chapter 37, Likes Children. Once a VIP customer has a service problem, not only the store manager, but also the vice president in charge of the Shanghai area will be held accountable. Gu Feng and Su Liuli stood outside for less than 2 minutes, and the salesperson came out in a panic with a tablet in his hands. Sorry sir, I kept you waiting. I'll help you take the necklace out. As he spoke, he picked up the key at his waist and opened the glass case without hesitation. The salesperson was also scared when he took the necklace, which was worth millions. He was afraid of knocking it over or bumping it, for even the slightest damage would be unaffordable. After taking out the necklace, he carefully placed the Star of Peace on the tray. Madam, this Star of Peace was designed by 3 designers and symbolizes peace and prosperity. The entire body is designed as a peace charm, with a 5-pointed star carved from a gem in the center and a 6-character motto on the back of the charm. The chain is hollowed out and engraved in platinum. If you don't feel comfortable with it later, you can exchange it for a necklace string, which we can provide for free. Let me help you put it on and you can see how it looks. The salesperson opened the small door next to him and walked out slowly. He came to Su Li's side, picked up the necklace and gently put it around her goosebumps. It's not bad. Su Li's temperament is inherently cold and noble, and the necklace on her simply takes her whole person to the next level. Wow! It's so pretty! This girl is the most beautiful I've ever seen. There were quite a few guests nearby, and they couldn't help but marvel at Su Lily as she tried on the peace star. Gu Feng stood nearby, silently watching Su Lily, and even he was amazed. Does it look good? With bashful eyes, Su Lily asked Gu Feng in a low voice. She didn't care what the people around her thought, she only cared about Gu Feng. As long as Gu Feng thought it looked good, she would be happy. It looks good. It looks very good. It's even better than those models. Without any hesitation, he took Su Lily's hand and led her to the mirror. Doesn't it look good? MMHM. She nodded silently, and then turned to the salesperson next to her. Please take it off for me. Wait. Since it looks good, just keep wearing it. We've been together for so long, and I've never given you a gift before. This necklace is the first gift. Please wrap it up for us. The moment Su Lily tried it on, he was already prepared to buy it. The salesperson's face lit up with joy at the news. $1 million necklace, if it really sold, her commission would definitely not be small. Okay, sir, I'll issue the invoice right away. Before Su Lily could react, the salesperson had already returned to the counter to prepare the invoice. Gu Feng, this necklace is too valuable, I can't accept it. Clutching Gu Feng's arm tightly, Su Lily looked nervous, her eyes misty, and she was on the verge of tears. Just take what I give you with peace of mind. You've treated me to dinner so many times, it's only natural that I buy you a gift. She looked at Su Lily with firm eyes, feeling the tenderness in his words. Her nervousness slowly subsided. The salesperson was still writing the invoice when the store manager strode over from behind. Hello sir, I'm the store manager here. You've already taken a fancy to this necklace, haven't you? Yes. That's right sir, as you're one of our major clients, it's our pleasure to serve you. This is a small gift from me on behalf of the Shanghai branch. I hope you will accept it. The store manager, with a humble attitude, raised his hand and handed 2 gift boxes to Gu Feng. Oh, thank you. Gu Feng said thank you to the store manager, who gave a slight smile and helped the salesperson register and issue the invoice. In less than 3 minutes, all the invoices were issued, and the bank card in his hand was handed to the cashier, and the 1.2 million Pinyin star necklace was paid for by credit card. Sir, madam, you two take your time. And welcome back next time. The store manager led the way, escorting Gu Feng and Su Lily to the door, and only after seeing them leave did the store manager and salesperson return. Store manager, is there really such a big client that requires the chairman to receive them personally? The saleswoman was very excited after successfully completing a sale. The indication that the chairman received them does not necessarily mean that the chairman had to receive them personally, it is just a formality for membership levels. This level of VIP status cannot be achieved just by being rich. I will hold a small meeting tonight to explain this to you, and you all need to pay attention in the future. But overall, the service was good this time, and I will apply with headquarters to give you a bonus. Really? Thank you, manager. In addition to the commission for the necklace itself, she will also receive a generous bonus. She really hopes to meet a few more such big clients. Gu Feng and Su Li left the jewelry store together, with Su Li following close behind, her jade hands clutching the necklace in front of her. Li, what's wrong with you? Why are you so nice to me? Her long eyelashes fluttered slightly as Su Li looked tenderly at Gu Feng. Why else, I like you. Like. A straightforward and outspoken sentence, a warm current flashed through Su Li's heart. Gu Feng likes her, and she doesn't like Gu Feng. Then can you promise me that you won't buy such expensive gifts in the future? I'm really afraid that if I lose a necklace worth more than 1 million yuan, I really don't know what to do if I lose it. Okay, I promise. You asked me to go shopping, don't you have anything you want to buy? Su Lili volunteered to go shopping, and so far, apart from the necklace, there have only been snacks to eat at the beginning. In fact, I asked you to come shopping because I wanted you to help me pick out some gifts. I want to buy some gifts for my aunt. Last time, I bought myself so many clothes, and she has been thinking about what to buy for my aunt for a while. Since I have some time today, I asked Gufeng to go out with me, and while we are shopping, we can see what to buy. Buy a gift for my mom. Well, let me think. Raise his hand and touch his chin, he really can't think of what his own mother likes for a while. You, as a son, don't even know what your aunt likes? A knowing smile, Su Li's full lips slightly pouted. Bringing Gufeng out shopping was just to get his ideas, but I didn't expect him to not know what to get either. Cough cough. Of course I know. It's just that the things she likes, we can't give them to her. Gufeng laughed awkwardly, with a slight cough and a strange look in his eyes. You can't? Is it very expensive? No. It's either very expensive or hard to get. Gufeng stuttered, and Su Liuli's big eyes were full of confusion. She didn't understand what Gufeng was trying to say. From what I've observed since I was a child, her elderly person is particularly fond of children. Especially grandchildren. Why don't you smile wickedly and look at Su Liuli next to you? She was originally full of doubts, but after hearing Gufeng's words, Su Liuli's pretty face flushed red. She never would have thought that Gufeng would actually play such a joke on her. You're so naughty. You rascal. She muttered softly, and while Gufeng wasn't paying attention, she raised her hand and grabbed directly at Gufeng's soft belly. I was wrong. Seeing that things were not good, Gufeng quickly admitted his mistake and took a few steps back. Su Liuli, calm down first. You told me to say what my mother likes, and I'm not lying, she does like children. Really? Speaking seriously, while doing so, he glanced at Su Liuli's stomach. Subconsciously, he muttered, but it seems like it's too late now. You still dare to say that? Blushing, Su Liuli was full of shame and anger, stamping her feet in anger. Fortunately, not many people around heard that, otherwise she would have to find a crack to hide in. Chapter 38, Choosing a Gift. Su Liuli stood in front of him, her face flushed with shame. At first glance, her delicate, fair face still carried a hint of loveliness. In this situation, she couldn't continue to make fun of someone. After thinking for a long time, she finally said slowly, "Why don't we go to the mall first?" Her black hair fell over her shoulders like a waterfall, and her face was slightly flushed. Well, let's go to the mall. Since I don't know what to give, let's go to the mall and have a look. Without thinking about the child's problem anymore, Su Liuli took the lead, and Gufeng followed, as they walked towards the nearest shopping mall. Right, what does my uncle like? Apart from mom and dad, are there any other elders in the family? As they walked, Su Liuli asked in a low voice. There's also grandma. But it's easier to buy a gift for my dad and grandma, so I'll help you prepare it. No, I'd rather prepare it myself. It's a gift from the heart. Gufeng offered to help prepare the gift, and Su Liuli immediately shook her head and refused. When it comes to gifts for the elderly, it's the thought that counts, so how can I let someone else help me prepare it? Fine, you prepare it. Gufeng had no choice but to agree, as he followed Su Liuli around. They entered the mall and wandered around the first floor, but couldn't find a suitable gift. After taking the escalator to the second floor, after about 10 minutes, Gufeng stopped in his tracks and looked over at the women's clothing store next to them. How about a scarf? Let's go in and have a look. Mumbling to himself, he took Su Liuli's wrist and entered the women's clothing store. In the middle, on the left, hung a pale red scarf with a striped pattern that looked very nice. What a beautiful scarf. But isn't a scarf a bit too simple a gift? Standing elegantly next to Gufeng, Su Liuli said softly. Simple? I don't think it's simple at all. Didn't you just say that the most important thing about a gift is the thought behind it? A scarf may be small, but it's full of thought. Standing next to Gufeng, Su Liuli was dignified and graceful in her words and actions, and she stared at the scarf for a long time. Fine, then I'll give her a scarf. Hello, how much is this scarf? She lifted her delicate hand to beckon the saleswoman over. Hello, madam. This scarf originally cost over 1,000 yuan, but now it's on sale for only 690. The saleswoman smiled as she introduced it, and when she heard the price of the scarf, not only Su Liuli but even Gufeng himself was taken aback. A pure cotton scarf, and it cost 690. After all, this is a place where every inch of land is worth its weight in gold, and the price of just about any commodity is outrageously high. Never mind, just wrap it up for us. Her cheeks glowed with an ivory radiance as she faced such an exorbitantly priced scarf, but Su Liuli did not hesitate for a moment. Good lady. Upon hearing Su Liuli's words, the salesperson immediately took off the scarf and went to the cash register to wrap it up. Paying 690 yuan, Gu Feng walked out of the store with a scarf that cost more than 690 yuan in his hands. Su Liuli, why don't we go back first, and pick out gifts for dad and grandma in a few days when we have time? Su Liuli's money was all earned from hard part-time work, and this place was really expensive. If they continued shopping, they didn't know how much money they would spend. After Gu Feng finished speaking, Su Liuli did not respond immediately, and looked down to take her phone out of her bag. It turned out to be a phone call. Hello, Jia? I'm outside, what's wrong? Tonight? Okay, I got it, I'll go back now. In a few simple words, Su Liuli hung up the phone. Then let's go back. Okay. They walked all the way out of the shopping mall and took the bus back towards Fuxing University. I'm having dinner with my roommate tonight, so you might have to eat alone. After getting off the bus and arriving at the school gate, Su Liuli stopped walking, holding the shopping bag in her hands, and looked at Gu Feng with her big, dark, clear eyes. Okay, so you're going back now? She nodded lightly. I'll walk you back to the dormitory. He walked Su Liuli from the school gate to the dormitory. After the other person had entered the girls' dormitory building, Gu Feng turned around and left. It wasn't very late, so he could just contact Wang Li and go through the contract with Yunding. After leaving the school, he took a taxi to Yunding Technology Development. It took nearly half an hour for Gu Feng to arrive at the Hongfeng building, where Yunding Technology Development was located. Standing in place, he looked up at the building in front of him. A preliminary estimate was that the building was definitely quite old. The surrounding buildings are all very new, and only the Hongfeng building in front of him looks dilapidated. But then again, it's true. Cloudtop is just a small company worth only a few 100,000 yuan. How could it have a decent office area in such a high-end city as Shanghai? Enter the lobby and take the elevator to the top floor. Wang Li and his secretary were already waiting at the elevator entrance. They hurriedly greeted Gu Feng when they saw him. Mr. Gu, I'm really sorry to make you come in person. When they came up to each other, they shook hands. It's fine. Mr. Wang, let's sign the rest of the contract. Sure. Mr. Gu, this way please. The contract was ready early in the morning, and Wang Li personally showed the way, quickly arriving at the office area of Yunding Technology Development. It was said to be an office area, but it was less than 200 square meters in area, and there were only a dozen employees. Seeing Wang Li and Gu Feng walk straight to the office, the employees sitting at their workstations couldn't help but cast curious glances. Is this Mr. Gu? My goodness, so young? I heard that Mr. Gu bought our company to invest in a large game. I don't know if we will be fired. Alas, the future is dark. Generally speaking, once a company is sold, 99% of the previous employees will be fired. This time, I guess they are also in a precarious situation. Mr. Gu, please take a look at the contract. Wang Li placed the contract on the table, and Gu Feng sat down and carefully reviewed it, finally determining that there were no problems. No problem. He picked up the pen next to him and signed both contracts. Mr. Gu, there is something else I want to tell you. The employees outside are all my technical backbones, and each of them is very capable. If you are willing to keep them, I believe they will not let you down. Wang Li spoke to Gu Feng with some embarrassment. In theory, he shouldn't have said this, but thinking about the employees outside having followed him for such a long time, he suddenly felt bad about making everyone lose their jobs. Okay, I will consider it. Thank you, Mr. Gu. I have already packed up my things, and this office is now yours. He got up, nodded to Gu Feng, looked around, and finally took a big step away. He had already held a meeting with all the employees before, and the decision on whether to stay or go could only be made by Gu Feng, the current boss. Chapter 39, Second Bloom. Secretarian, how many employees does the company have now? Wang Li left, and Annie, as the president's secretary, naturally stayed in the office. As for whether she can continue to work as a secretary in the company, it depends on Gu Feng's mood. There are a total of 18 people, 6 of whom have recently left. Including me, there are only 12 people left. Wang Li announced that he was going to sell the company, and 6 people had already found a new company to work for, so they left the company en masse yesterday. Does the company have a meeting room? Yes, there is a small meeting room. Let's all go to the meeting room, I have something to say. Okay, Mr. Gu. Since you are still the president's secretary, you naturally have to do your job well. Gu Feng entered the meeting room early. As notified by secretary, 11 people, excluding the two of them, entered one after the other. Everyone, please sit down. I will briefly talk about a few things. Today, I officially took over Yunding from President Wang. In the future, Yunding will be renamed Yunding Technology. Everyone here is a key member and veteran of the company. You can choose to stay with the company or resign. Those who can stay with the company will follow the new salary system. I have looked into your current salary structure, and I can guarantee that the salary I offer will not be lower than your current salary level. What do you all think? Mr. Gu, you really won't dismiss us? Everyone was very surprised. They didn't expect the boss to say such a thing. Why would I dismiss you? Next, the game Peak Rush will become our main project. You are all experienced technical developers. Is it necessary for me to dismiss you and then recruit you again? After Gu Feng finished speaking, everyone in the room glanced at each other, all willing to stay. The finance staff came for a visit. After the meeting, Gu Feng returned to his office. Secretary, contact Professor Wu and ask the Peak Rush team to move to the company as soon as possible. In addition, I see that there is a lot of unused office space on this floor. Contact them and rent all the vacant spaces. Okay, Mr. Gu. Hearing Gu Feng's words, Annie hurriedly nodded in agreement. After instructing the office space, the next most important thing was to inject capital into Yunding Technology. How do you do? Hello, Mr. Gu, I'm finance, my name is Du Jingjing. Du Jingjing is about 30 years old, about the same age as Annie. Okay, Jingjie, in my personal capacity, I will inject 10 million yuan in working capital into Yunding Technology. You do the accounting. For every subsequent development expense, ask secretary to sign. 10 million yuan. Although she had guessed that the funds were huge, she was still shocked when she heard Gu Feng say 10 million yuan. She was the only one in charge of accounting, and the most money she had handled before was never more than 1 million yuan. This time, it was a 10 million yuan deposit. Okay, Mr. Gu, I will prepare the report as soon as possible. The finance manager promised and then left. Gu Feng got up and before leaving, he did not forget to drink the water on the coffee table in one gulp. It was almost 6 p.m. when they returned from Yunding Technology to the university. Under the leadership of Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai, the three went to the cafeteria for dinner together. As for Zhang Tiniu, he had a date. After dinner, it was 7 p.m. Su Liuli went out to dinner with a few roommates, and he didn't want to bother them, so he just lay in bed, bored, playing with his phone. Time passed by minute. In the blink of an eye, it was 9:30 p.m. Just as Gu Feng was about to take a hot shower and go to bed, his phone vibrated. It was a call from Su Liuli. Worried that something had happened so late at night, Gu Feng immediately pressed the answer button. What surprised him was that the situation was almost exactly the same as the last time. The caller was no one else but Wang Mani. Gu Feng, can you come over? We're at the east gate of Fuxing University, by the cafeteria. Su Liuli seems to be drunk again. Wang Mani's tone was very awkward. She really didn't expect that a glass of wine would make Su Liuli drunk. What? That's good, I'll be right there. Gu Feng was also dumbfounded at this time, and had no idea what was going on. Last time, she mistakenly drank vodka, but this time, she couldn't have mistakenly drunk it again, could she? Hey, where are you going, Gu Feng? Seeing Gu Feng rush to get out of bed, Jiang Yu couldn't help but ask as she stood by the bed. Something's up. Oh, something's up. Wait, take your ID with you. You won't be able to come back at this hour. Jiang Yu reminded him, and Gu Feng suddenly remembered that he had to take his ID with him. He hurriedly turned around again to get his ID, and ran all the way to the cafeteria at the east gate of the school. When he arrived at the cafeteria, he looked around and finally found Su Liuli and the others in the corner. When they saw Gu Feng coming over, Wang Mani and Dong Jejia got up awkwardly, while Su Liuli, leaning on Lu Xiaoyu's shoulder, had a slight blush on her face, her long eyelashes fluttering gently as she slept soundly. Gu Feng, we really didn't mean to do it. Look, this is the wine I stored here, with an alcohol content of less than 13%. The four of us drank half a bottle together. Dong Jejia was full of embarrassment. She just wanted everyone to try something new. If she had known, she would have definitely asked the waiter to bring some juice. Gu Feng was also a little confused when he heard this. Only a little wine? Well, just a little wine. Dong Jia was sure of her tone. She had stored the wine here half a year ago, and today she was in a good mood, thinking of calling some roommates over to taste it. She didn't expect that after just a few sips, Su Liuli would become a little tipsy. So much so that in less than 2 minutes, she had leaned against Lu Xiaoyu and fallen asleep. Well, shall I take Liuli away first? That's fine. We didn't want to call you, but Lily said she missed you, so I did. She fell asleep while we were waiting for you to come over. Mani Wang explained with a wry smile. Gu Feng, don't worry, I swear, I will never let Lily drink again. This little girl is practically a penicillin allergic, she can't even touch a drop of alcohol. Dong Jia raised 3 fingers and swore in front of Gu Feng, her attitude sincere. There was no way. They had just made a mistake last time, and they didn't expect it to happen again. The 3 of them, including Lu Xiaoyu, were mortified. It's not your fault, I wouldn't have thought of it either. With the help of Dong Jia and Lu Xiaoyu, they helped Su to her feet. Reaching out, he took Su Luli's willowy waist and half-hugged her in his arms. The soft, boneless willow waist carried a faint fragrance, and Su Lili was extremely charming at this moment. Walking out of the Western restaurant, Gu Feng looked down at Su Lili in his arms, and raised his hands to embrace her like a princess. All the way, he carried Su Lili to the hotel where they often stayed. When they saw the 2 of them, the aunt's smile was very intriguing. She quickly checked them into a room and watched them enter the elevator. Alas! Being young is great. Chapter 40, Blame Me. I couldn't hold back. Guiding Su Lili into the room, the 2 of them came to the bed. I'm so thirsty, I want some water. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito's chirp, and she grabbed Gu Feng's arm with one hand. Okay, I'll get you some water, just lie down. He raised his hand to intimately stroke Su Liuli's head, putting the other person's hand to the side, and Gu Feng got up and walked over to the water dispenser next to the bed. After getting Su Liuli a cup of warm water, he came to the bed and slowly helped her up with his hands. Here, drink some water. Oh. Responded subconsciously, and Su Luli picked up the glass of water and drank it all in a few gulps. Gu Feng hugged her. After finishing the water, she looked at Gu Feng with a dazed expression, and the next second, opened her arms wide and hugged him directly. The sudden appearance of this delicate body made Gu Feng flinch. He was holding the glass in his hand and stood there, dumbfounded. He couldn't move, and if he didn't move, it was just as bad. Su Liuli, can I go put the glass down first? Gu Feng hugged her and wrapped his arms around her tightly, unwilling to let go no matter what. There was really no other way, so he had to first put the glass on the bedside table, and then stand there while Su Liuli held onto him. He stood silently for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes, Su Liuli still didn't want to let go. Liuli? He called out softly, but it seemed that the other person had already fallen asleep. Gu Feng had no choice but to gently lift up her arm and slowly let her lie down again. He looked around the room, let Su Lili sleep quietly in bed, and then went to the coffee table and sat down. While holding his phone, he constantly kept an eye on Su Lili in bed. It was late at night. It was close to dawn, and it was time to rest. Gu Feng got up and went to the bed. He looked down at Su Liuli in bed. She was sleeping soundly, her delicate, fair face flushed with a light blush, her long eyelashes almost too beautiful to behold. Phew! I should sleep too. There was only one bed in the room, so if nothing unexpected happened, he would have to make do with Su Liuli again tonight. He lifted the quilt and got in, and before closing his eyes, he didn't forget to take a look at Su Liuli beside him. Phew! He was able to sit still and not get distracted, comparable to Lu Xiaohui from ancient times. He muttered to himself, I lie next to such a stunning beauty, and yet I can remain calm. I admire myself for my composure. Without thinking too much, he withdrew his gaze and slowly closed his eyes. He calmed down and fell asleep. I don't know how long it took, but in his sleep, Gu Feng suddenly felt a warmth in his body. In a daze, a warm breath was pressed against his face. Ha! His eyes slowly opened, and when he looked in front of him, Gu Feng was suddenly startled. With a small cherry mouth and a face like frozen cream, Su Liuli had actually snuggled into his arms. What was even more unexpected was that the other person tilted her head, and her small cherry mouth was just less than half an inch away from his own. At this moment, Gu Feng felt like his mind was blank. He tried hard to avert his gaze and looked elsewhere, while mumbling under his breath. Gu Feng kissed. Who knows, the next second, after Su Liuli muttered two sentences in her sleep, her body slightly straightened, and she kissed directly at the corner of Gu Feng's mouth. Warm, sweet, soft. Faced with such temptation, as long as he was a normal man, he would definitely be unable to hold back. Liuli, you are forcing me to commit a crime. With a bitter expression, Gu Feng lay stiffly on the bed, not even knowing where to put his hands. The next second after the kiss, Su Liuli's soft and delicate lips actually puckered up. Liuli, this is you kissing me. Adjusting his position, Gu Feng kissed Su Liuli directly on the mouth. The warm and soft feeling was accompanied by a hint of sweetness. Perhaps it was because she had little experience, Su Liuli was very awkward and extended a hand, gently resting it on Gu Feng's shoulder. Her clothes faded away, and her beauty gradually revealed itself. In the blink of an eye, it was the next morning. As the first ray of sunshine entered the room, Su Liuli gradually opened her eyes. In the hazy light, she felt her body being tightly embraced by an arm, and her body felt very warm. When she looked up, she saw Gu Feng in front of her. Her innocent and quiet face was shocked, and when she looked down at herself, she was actually naked. Even Gu Feng, who was lying next to her, was the same. Ah! She exclaimed, hugging the quilt and sitting up, curling up into a ball. Gu Feng, who was originally sleeping, was also awakened by this sudden cry. The first thing he noticed when he woke up was that Su Liuli was sitting next to him, hugging the quilt and curled up into a ball. Liuli, I'm sorry, I looked at Su Liuli with worried eyes, and Gu Feng didn't know what to say for a moment. It wasn't until now that Su Liuli, in a daze, remembered what happened last night. I wasn't dreaming last night. Her eyes were tearful, and she muttered to herself. She still vaguely had some impression of what happened last night. She didn't know if it was because she had drunk alcohol, but she had actually thought it was a dream. Hugging the quilt, Su Liuli's tears fell patteringly. Gu Feng saw this and was extremely anxious in his heart. For a moment, he didn't know what to do. After all, he was to blame for this incident for not being able to hold back. After almost 5 minutes, Su Liuli's emotions eased slightly. Looking at Gu Feng beside her with tearful eyes, in her opinion, Gu Feng could not be blamed for this incident entirely. If she had not thought she was dreaming, she would not have been so unrestrained. Gu Feng, I want to get dressed, can you turn around first? Clear tear tracks were hanging on her beautiful face. Her pitiful appearance was heartbreaking. Okay. I'll wait for you in the bathroom. Promising immediately, Gu Feng quickly got dressed and walked into the bathroom. After seeing Gu Feng leave, Su Liuli lifted the quilt and picked up the underwear next to her. In the bathroom, Gu Feng stood in front of the sink, turned on the faucet, and without hesitation, poured cold water on his face. Gu Feng, after being reborn for a second time, have you been reborn as a dog? Recalling the little things that Su Liuli had done for him before, Gu Feng now felt immense remorse in his heart. In doing so, he had undoubtedly deeply hurt Su Liuli. After more than 10 minutes in the toilet, there was no movement from Su Liuli outside. Liuli, are you done? As she spoke, she raised her hand and opened the toilet door. Su Liuli was sitting by the bed wearing a yellow dress, and the quilt had been folded. When she saw Gu Feng come out, Su Liuli's blushing face turned red, and she hurriedly pulled the pillow to her side, as if to hide something. I'm not done yet. Her eyes avoided his, and she didn't dare to look him in the eye. Gu Feng was taken aback by Su Liuli's actions, and then he smiled bitterly. I saw it when I got out of bed. Ah! You saw it. Her expression was tense, and her beautiful, smooth cheeks puffed up. The quilt had been folded, but there was a clear pool of blood on the sheet. She had tried to wipe it away with water, but it had been useless. She walked over to Su Liuli and, in the other person's puzzled eyes, Gu Feng crouched down. Liuli, I'm sorry. Last night was my fault. I shouldn't have. If you want to apologize, then just pay for the sheet. Looking tenderly at Gu Feng, Su Liuli lifted her slender finger and pointed at the bloodstain on the sheet. Pay for the sheet? Chapter 41, Confession on the Playground. Liuli, are you not angry with me? Su Liuli's words left Gu Feng a little confused. He crouched on the ground, looking confused. Humph, did I say I was angry? She snorted, her neck turning red. You put the sheets away, I'll go wash up. Gently running her hands through her black hair, Su Liuli slowly got up, her cute little nose poking up, and she turned towards the toilet. Perhaps it was because of last night, Su Liuli's footsteps were slightly frivolous, as if she was a little uncomfortable. Her girlfriend wasn't angry, and Gu Feng leisurely got up. Happiness came too suddenly. Quickly, he took down the sheets, folded them neatly, and put them in a bag. By the time Su Lily came out of the bathroom, Gu Feng had already finished tidying up. When he arrived at the front desk, after learning that Gu Feng was going to buy the sheets, the aunt agreed without hesitation. She casually charged a cost price and let Gu Feng leave. After breakfast, he took Su Lily back to the bottom of the girls' dormitory. He had a class this morning, so after dropping off Su Lily, he had to go to the teaching building for class. When they arrived downstairs together, Su Lily stopped in her tracks, clasping her hands together tightly, looking very cute as she looked at Gu Feng. "What's wrong? You mustn't tell anyone about what happened last night. Otherwise, I really won't talk to you anymore." She looked like a pale orchid, her cheeks flushed as she spoke. "Okay, I definitely won't tell anyone else. I swear." Gu Feng raised his hand and made a move as if he was going to get up, but Su Lily quickly stopped him and said, "I believe you." After saying these simple 4 words, Su Lily walked towards the door of the girls' dormitory. Halfway there, she didn't forget to turn around and wave at Gu Feng. Gu Feng didn't turn around and leave until Su Lily had entered the dormitory. The class started at 8 o'clock, and it was just after 7 o'clock, so it wasn't very late. When they arrived at the classroom, there were still 20 minutes before the start of the class. There were almost no people in the large classroom, which was no surprise. As time passed, there were still 2 or 3 minutes before the start of the class, and Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai hurriedly entered the classroom. After seeing Gu Feng, the 3 of them quickly came over. Freshmen are really serious about punctuality, and there were actually students who were being named and registered as late. Luckily, we all ran all the way here, or else we would have had to be on the honor roll. They sat down, and before they even took out their books, Xiao Kai started complaining. "Yes, I heard from a sophomore that freshmen are like this all year, and they will loosen up a lot in their sophomore year." The 3 of them chattered on, and in the midst of their conversation, Jiang Yu looked curiously at Gu Feng. "Gu Feng, what's wrong with you? You haven't said a word, what are you spacing out for?" In the past, when they discussed things like this, Gu Feng would definitely chime in with a few words. "Today is really strange, why are you so quiet?" "It's nothing, I wasn't daydreaming." No, is there something going on with you? Tell me, is it because of Miss Su?" Jiang Yu spoke, and Xiao Kai and Zhang Tinio looked over curiously. "Gu Feng, you and Miss Su didn't have a fight, did you? Don't be stupid, you little brat, such a pretty schoolmate, you must seize the day." Xiao Kai finished speaking, and Zhang Tinio nodded in agreement. "Don't worry, I'm really fine." As soon as he finished speaking, the white-haired old professor entered the classroom with a laptop in his arms. Seeing the teacher enter, the 3 of them stopped questioning. They were in the classroom all morning, and at noon, they deliberately called Su Liuli to ask her out to dinner, but they didn't realize that Su Liuli still had a part-time job in the afternoon and had already gone to the kindergarten. They had no choice but to eat with Xiao Kai and the others in the school cafeteria. "Tainyo, how did it go? Did the girl agree?" While eating the chicken leg, Jiang Yu suddenly thought of something and looked at Zhang Tinio with a smile. It was better not to ask, but by asking, he directly made the old cow feel shy. He lowered his head and remained silent. After a moment, he nodded slightly. "It seems that there is a meaning in that regard, but I haven't figured out how to express it." The voice was very small, and Gu Feng, sitting next to him, couldn't hear it very clearly. "Tinio, what did you say? Can you speak louder?" Jiang Yu, sitting across from him, didn't catch a word, and decisively put the half of the chicken leg she was eating on the plate, looking at Zhang Tinio with curiosity. "I said, it seems like the girl has a crush on me, but I don't know how to confess yet." The voice instantly raised several degrees. Gu Feng and the others heard this and looked at each other, then burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha. If it's interesting, it'll be easy. Confess? We'll help you out. How about tonight? Since the girl is interested, Zhang Tinio must act quickly. If he waits any longer, someone else might get her, and then there'll be nowhere to cry. Tonight? Isn't that a bit too hasty?" As soon as he heard that he had to confess tonight, Zhang Tinio's voice trembled. He had never had a girlfriend before, so he had no idea what to do. Not only was he nervous about confessing that night, but just thinking about it made his heart race. "Ahem. We don't have much experience with this kind of thing. Gu Feng, among us, you are the only one with a little experience, so can you give Tainyo some advice?" In Jiang Yu's opinion, Gu Feng was a Casanova who had managed to woo the school beauty, so if he gave Zhang Tainyo a little advice, the confession would be a success. "Me? Gu Feng smiled awkwardly. I don't have much experience. Didn't I say before that it was your classmate Su who took the initiative to confess to me? You're really cheeky. You're not the Monkey King with 3 heads and 6 arms, so how could you make Miss Su confess her love for you? Zhang Yu and Xiao Kai didn't believe a word of Gu Feng's, and it was normal for them not to believe him. In my opinion, there's no time to waste. How about 7 o'clock tonight at the school playground? Tainyo, you get dressed up and ask her out. We'll set up the scene for you. After Zhang Yu finished speaking, Gu Feng and Xiao Kai both turned to Zhang Tinyu. As long as the other person nodded, they would prepare well this afternoon. There was a long silence. Good. I'm going for it. Confess. Their roommates were right. You can't put off confessing forever. Ha ha ha. Let's hurry up and eat, and then go back to the dormitory to discuss the details. Zhang Tinia's confession was a big event for their entire dormitory, and the details had to be discussed carefully. After a hurried lunch, Gu Feng and the others returned to the dormitory. They discussed the matter from 12:30 to 2:30 in the afternoon, a total of more than 2 hours. Gu Feng, I'll take Tainyo out to buy clothes first, and you and Xiao Kai go to the playground to check out the venue. Yes, get the flowers ready, and remember to buy roses, don't get the wrong ones. After the discussion was over, Zhang Yu took Zhang Tainyo's arm and got up. Before leaving the dormitory, she did not forget to give Gu Feng and Xiao Kai a few words of advice. Don't worry, we'll take care of the playground. Xiao Kai assured him with a pat on his chest. The next second, Gu Feng got up. Tainyo, you have to tell us the name of the girl first. Right, we were just talking about other things, you have to tell us the name. It's Lu Junying. Lu Junying. Wait, you'd better write down the name for us, which June and which Ing. Quickly finding paper and pen, he asked Zhang Tainyo to write down the name of his future girlfriend. Chapter 42, Confession Intercepted. Feeling that there were no problems, Zhang Yu took Zhang Tinyu to buy clothes, while Gu Feng and Xiao Kai went to the flower shop to order flowers. After ordering a bouquet of roses at the flower shop, the two of them stopped by an advertising shop and got a large LED display. After getting everything ready, they hurried to the playground to claim the spot. Xiao Kai, what do you think of this place? Gu Feng pointed directly at his feet. The spot he was currently standing in was right in the middle of the playground. The lawn was neat and clean, and it was the perfect place to make a declaration of love. Great! This is the place. As soon as he had finished speaking, 3 girls walked over from nearby. Judging by their attire, they were also freshmen. Hello, 2 seniors, excuse me. Can we have this place? We have an event tonight and may need to use it. One of the 3 girls came up to Gu Feng and Xiao Kai and asked apologetically. This. Gu Feng heard and turned to Xiao Kai next to him. He wanted to discuss it with Xiao Kai, but he never expected the boy to agree so decisively. No problem, we can be next to you. You're really generous, boy. He whispered in Xiao Kai's ear. Since Xiao Kai had already agreed, Gu Feng didn't know what to say. There was still a lot of space around them, so they had to move over a little. To avoid being occupied again, before leaving, the two of them did not forget to pull out a ribbon and surround the required area directly with the ribbon, while also leaving some notes and candy. Tonight, I will declare my love, and I will take up a position first. Please bear with me, and I will treat you to candy in advance. Leaving the notes and candy, the two turned around and returned to the dormitory. The time for declaring love was set for 7 p.m., and Zhang Tinio had already made an appointment. When they returned to the dormitory, Zhang Yu and Zhang Tinia had not yet returned. Gu Feng received a call from Su Luli, who had already returned to school. After hearing that Gu Feng would confess on the playground that night, Su Luli immediately said that she also wanted to join the fun. They waited until 6 o'clock, when Zhang Yu returned with Zhang Tinio. The brand new clothes he was wearing could not be described as handsome, but at least he looked full of energy. At 6:30, Tinia, you go pick up the girl and meet us at the playground. Good. He agreed readily, full of excitement, and everyone began to make their move. When they arrived outside the playground, they happened to meet Su Luli. After seeing Gu Feng, Su Luli held the hem of her skirt and trotted over to him. With her fair skin and delicate nose, she was very happy to see Gu Feng. You're here. When will you confess your love? With a spring-like smile on her face, Su Luli subconsciously took hold of Gu Feng's arm and asked. Seeing this, Zhang Yu and Xiao Kai hurriedly greeted with smiles. Hello, Miss Su. Hello. I'm free, and I want to join the fun with you. Is that okay? Miss Sue, what are you talking about? It's our honor to have you here. Jiang Yu laughed, while nudging Gu Feng's shoulder. Gu Feng, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and take Miss Sue in first. Upon hearing this, Su Liuli stood quietly in front of him, her big, clear eyes smiling as she looked at Gu Feng. Your roommate must have agreed, right? Why don't you take me in? Okay, let's go in. Seeing Su Liuli looking so cute, Gu Feng couldn't help but laugh. Entering the playground, they saw that there were already quite a few people gathered around the setup. Because of the note left, most people were there to see the fun. So many people. My goodness. A large crowd had gathered around, and Jiang Yu's little heart couldn't help but tremble a little. Jiang Yu, what if today's scene doesn't work out? Xiao Kai muttered to himself, completely surprised by the crowd that had gathered at the location where he was going to confess. Bah! What kind of depressing words are those? With today's scene, it's a 100% success. I bet if Tainyo fails to confess, I'll be eating grass all around the playground. Jiang Yu's tone was firm, but her eyes couldn't help but glance to the side. What was going on over there? Was he going to confess too? I don't know. A few girls came over and said that there would be an activity in the evening. Xiao Kai explained briefly, and Jiang Yu didn't think much about it. The prepared roses were placed to the side, along with the LED sign and the small hanging lights. There was always something missing. Candles? Other people had candles next to them, why didn't we have any here? Where are the candles? Xiao Kai glanced over at the others, who had prepared heart-shaped candles in addition to the flowers. Shit! I forgot. Jiang Yu raised her hand and slapped her forehead. When buying clothes, he had thought about buying some candles, but he had been in such a hurry when he returned that he had forgotten. Phew! It seems like they still have quite a few left. I'll go ask if I can borrow some. Noticing that the three girls next to him had quite a few candles left behind, Xiao Kai gathered his courage and strode over to the girls. Hello, classmate. Senior. No, not a senior. I'm also a freshman. Can I talk to you about something? You have quite a few candles left over, so can I buy some? Xiao Kai stood awkwardly, nervously rubbing his palms together. Of course you can. We don't need these leftovers anymore, you can have them all. Xiao Kai had given up his seat before, and they still didn't know how to thank him, so giving away some candles was no big deal. Really? Wow, thank you so much. Smiling, Xiao Kai agreed, and as time was running out, he quickly walked over to the grass with the candles and arranged them. A few minutes later, Zhang Tinyu arrived at the playground with Lu Junying. Here they come. Jiang Yu whispered, about to wave to Zhang Tinyu, but unexpectedly, the latter followed Lu Junying to the adjacent open space. The next second, the music started. Tainyo, I like you. Lu Junying, holding flowers in her hands and wearing a beige skirt, suddenly confessed to Zhang Tainyo. Holy shit! Is this what the script says? Her mouth was wide open, and not only Jiang Yu, but also Gu Feng and Su Liuli were shocked. They had worked so hard to prepare the scene for the confession, but they never expected someone from the other team to steal the show. Ghoul! Xiao Kai swallowed his saliva silently. Jiang Yu, what should we do? The confession has already started next door, and everyone's attention is on it. But they have also prepared hard for this, so they can't just waste it. After thinking about it, Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai looked at each other, and their gaze fell on Gu Feng together. What are you two looking at me like that for? Gu Feng felt uncomfortable when he was looked at by the two men's burning gaze. Xiao Kai, change the names on the LED lights. Chapter 43, The Goddess Has Been Wooed? Change the name? Change it to whose name? Xiao Kai was dumbfounded. It had happened so suddenly that he still hadn't reacted yet. Nonsense, of course it's changed to Gu Feng and Miss Su's names. Hurry and change it. After Jiang Yu finished speaking, Su Liuli's pretty face turned white, and she hurriedly grabbed Gu Feng's arm. She just wanted to come and watch the fun, but didn't want Gu Feng to profess his love for her in public. Jiang Yu, what's the point of changing our names? You brat. Okay, it's hard to set up the scene, so you brat got off easy. Now's a good opportunity, you go confess to Miss Su, let us learn from you, ha ha. While Jiang Yu was smiling and talking, Xiao Kai quickly took out his phone and quickly changed the names on the LED sign to Gu Feng and Su Liuli. After changing the LED sign, Xiao Kai didn't forget to force the flowers in his hand into Gu Feng's hands. Take it and behave well. He winked at Gu Feng and then laughed. Next to them, Lu Junying had already handed the flowers she was holding to Zhang Tiniu. Looking at the girl in front of him, Zhang Tiniu's mind was a blank. Didn't he say that he would confess to her tonight? In the end, it was the girl who confessed to him. Say yes. Say yes. Marry her, marry her. It's not often that a girl confesses her love to a guy, and the surrounding students were all excited as if they had just been given a shot of adrenaline. Facing this situation, Zhang Tiniu's face flushed, and he really couldn't handle it. Junying, I don't need to say anything, I know your feelings, and you know mine. If you don't take the initiative, then I will. Do you want to be with me? Holding flowers in her arms, Lu Junying looked at Zhang Tiniu earnestly. Tainyo, what are you doing? Take the flowers. Zhang Yu and Gu Feng were standing nearby, looking at Zhang Tainyo standing there blankly, and they were very anxious inside. Upon hearing Zhang Yu's words, he reacted, quickly reaching out his hand to take the flowers from Lu Junying. Bang bang bang. After all, the girl had prepared everything, and after the declaration of love was successful, there were even fireworks. Ha ha, it worked. He laughed loudly, and at the moment Zhang Tainyo took the flowers, thunderous applause sounded all around. Tainyo is a success, Gu Feng, it's up to you and Miss Su next. Zhang Yu raised her hand and half pushed, half pulled Gu Feng into the middle of the streamers. Wow! There's another confession. What day is it, confession day? I just watched one, I didn't expect there to be another. The crowd, which had originally gathered around one side, all looked at Gu Feng again. Miss Su, Gu Feng is going over there. I flushed with embarrassment. Su Luli's neck was covered in blushes, and she had never dreamed of such a high-profile confession. Looking up, her gaze fell on Gu Feng in the distance. Su Luli hesitated for a long time, but finally took a step forward. Wait. Senior Su. The school flower. Wow, did I see it right, isn't that Senior Su? My goddess. Everyone around was happily watching the commotion, but when they saw Su Li appear, they were all dumbfounded, their words full of disbelief. The school flower of Fuxing University, the dream goddess of all the boys, was publicly professing her love on the playground. If they had known in advance, I'm afraid the playground would have been packed. This Zhang Yu kid, he's got a lot of nerve. Don't mind him. To be honest, I haven't confessed to you yet, so this is a good opportunity to make up for it. Holding the flowers Xiao Kai handed him, Gu Feng looked at Su Liuli in front of him with a calm expression. The scene at the school gate on the first day of school was still vivid in his mind. That was the first time Su Liuli had seen him. So how are you going to confess? I'm looking forward to it. She winked at Gu Feng playfully, and the sound of her words could only be heard by the two of them. Gu Feng, what are you doing? Handing over flowers is a sign. Xiao Kai and Zhang Yu stood not far away. Seeing that Gu Feng had not moved for a long time, the two of them, who were anxious, stamped their feet. Liuli, will you marry me? Slowly handing the flowers in his hand to Su Liuli, Gu Feng asked seriously. Just one sentence, and everyone present directly widened their eyes. Even Zhang Tiniu and Lu Junying couldn't help but look over here. Marry him? I'm going, wasn't this a confession? When did it escalate to a marriage proposal? Is there something wrong with my ears? Gu Feng's words caused the surrounding students to start talking wildly. Su Luli's beautiful eyes were dull, and she stood there stupidly. She didn't expect Gu Feng to ask such a thing either. Luli? Su Luli was stunned for a long time, and Gu Feng couldn't help but remind her in a low voice. I'm here. I'm willing. The voice was as faint as a mosquito's chirp, but Gu Feng still heard it clearly. In front of everyone, Su Luli reached out and took the flowers into her arms. Then, in front of everyone, she stood on tiptoe and gave Feng a kiss on the left side of his face. That kiss almost broke the hearts of all the boys present. Oh my God! She said yes? How could she say yes? My goddess, she's just been won over? No way! Oh my God, you're killing me! The boys who are reviewing for college, your house has been burgled. Su Luli agreed, and the surrounding students were talking about it wildly, and some of them had even started taking pictures with their phones. This incident tonight will definitely spread throughout Fuxing University in no time. Wow, Zhang Yu, this venue was not prepared in vain. Xiao Kai looked at Zhang Yu next to him with excitement in his eyes. The latter stood in the same place, basking in her confidence, and was obviously very happy as well. Jiang Yu, Xiao Kai, what is going on? Zhang Tinio couldn't help but ask curiously as he sneaked up to Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai with Lu Junying. This. Tinio, let me explain. This venue was originally not prepared for you, but who knew that you suddenly got dragged over there? I didn't want to waste the hard work that went into preparing the venue, so I asked Gu Feng and Miss Su to go up there instead. Jiang Yu explained seriously, and Zhang Tinio was stunned. He laughed awkwardly and said, so that's what happened. What can I say? How could Gu Feng suddenly think of going up to confess? It turns out to be your doing. However, with Su Xuejie's status at Fuxing University, Gu Feng's name will be all over Fuxing University tomorrow. Su Liuli took the flowers from Gu Feng's hands, and the two of them silently stayed in the same place for a moment. Then, under everyone's gaze, they left the venue and came to Jiang Yu and the others. Tainyo, congratulations on your successful confession. Same congratulations to you. Let's put away all these things on the playground together. The confession is over, and these things on the playground should be put away quickly. There are also lit candles. If we continue to delay, it will be bad if the security guard comes over. Gu Feng, you and Tainyo go first, and Xiao Kai and I will just clean up a little. Yes, Jiang Yu is right, you two go on your date first, we'll take care of things here. With a wave of his hand, Xiao Kai walked up to Gu Feng and Zhang Tinio, took their arms, and led them aside, some other time. You must invite Jiang Yu and me to dinner. Chapter 44, The Power of Love. No problem. Order whatever you want, this meal, Tainyo is definitely buying. Gu Feng readily agreed, but the last sentence left Zhang Tainyo a little confused. What did he mean by this meal? I'll definitely buy. After some whispering, Xiao Kai and Jiang Yu waved their hands to indicate that the two of them should leave. In this way, Zhang Tainyo took Lu Junying, and Gu Feng took Su Luli, and the four of them walked out of the playground together. Sigh, when will I find a girlfriend? As he watched the group leave, Xiao Kai let out a small sigh. Jiang Yu, who was standing nearby, came up to him at the right moment. Don't even think about it, with your looks, you'll never find a girlfriend. What? Jiang Yu, what do you mean? No, don't get mad, I was just joking, ha ha ha. Xiao Kai was furious, and Jiang Yu quickly changed the subject. Outside the playground, Gu Feng simply greeted Zhang Tinio, and then led Su Luli in the direction of the school's teaching area. From the moment she was confessed to, Su Luli had been quiet, following Gu Feng without saying a word. When they arrived at the bench under the teaching building, Su Luli shyly said with a beautiful gaze, "Don't be late again tonight." "No, it's still early. Let's sit here and rest for a while." He took Su Luli's wrist and let her sit first. He had just looked at his phone, and it was only a little after 8 o'clock. There was still plenty of time before the dormitory closed, so there was no need to rush. He still hadn't bought gifts for his uncle and grandmother. When should he go shopping? You can take them back with you when you go back. Su Lili spoke softly, and Gu Feng hesitated in response, saying, "When I go back? Aren't you going back with me?" One on the left, one on the right, the two sat on the bench chatting quietly. Almost an hour later, it was past 9 o'clock. Feeling that it was getting late, Su Lili got up and prepared to return to the dormitory. I need to prepare my thesis in the next few days, so I probably won't have much time. I have to go out for an internship in the second half of my senior year, and some of my classmates have already finished writing their theses. Because of her part-time job, she hasn't written a single word of hers yet. In the time to come, she will have to devote herself to her thesis. With the serious teaching style of Fuxing University, it is not impossible to extend the deadline or even fail if the thesis is not completed. Okay, that's fine, you go ahead with your thesis. If you miss me, just call me, I'll be there for you. I won't miss you. With a huff and a pout, Su Luli immediately turned around, leaving only a stunning back view for Gu Feng. After taking a few steps, she noticed that Gu Feng had not followed, so she stopped and turned around again. Hurry up and go. Okay. Gu Feng quickly walked a few steps to Su Luli's side at the call of his girlfriend. He escorted her all the way to the bottom of the girls' dormitory building, and just as he was about to return to the dormitory, he suddenly received a call from his mother. His father, Gu Jinghua, and his mother, Song Huilan, were going to go abroad for about a month. He had originally wanted to take Su Lili back home soon, but now it seemed that it was not going to happen, at least not until his mother and father returned from abroad. When he returned to the dormitory, there were only Xiao Kai and Jiang Yu there. Zhang Tinia had not yet returned. I said, Tinio won't be back tonight, will he? Jiangyu sat cross-legged on the bed. It was already 9:30, and there wasn't much time left before the dormitory closed. I don't know. What they say, a spring night is worth 1,000 in gold, so it's normal for Tinio not to come back, ha ha ha. Xiao Kai was still laughing heartily when, before he could finish, the dormitory door was pushed open and Zhang Tinio came in happily. Holy shit! Speak of the devil and he doth appear. Tinio, why did you come back? The smile on his face instantly froze, and Xiao Kai looked at Zhang Tinio in disbelief. He had just said that he might not come back tonight, and he didn't expect such a swift slap in the face. Ha? What's wrong? Am I not allowed to come back? He came before Xiao Kai, confused, with a happy look on his face, almost happier than if he had won the lottery. Gu Feng, Jiang Yu, and Xiao Kai all stared silently at Zhang Tinio, who was smiling happily. Indeed, the power of love is great. In front of the others, Zhang Tinio rolled onto the bed and started chatting seriously on his phone. As for Gu Feng and the others, they were really bored and could only lie down and go to sleep. In the following time, Zhang Tinio and Lu Juniang were completely in a period of intense love, and they would not return to the dormitory until almost 9 o'clock every night. On the Yinding technology side, Annie reported by phone that Lu Qi had brought the development team in, and the project for the peak competition was progressing steadily. According to estimates, the development would be completed in a short period of time, and the first round of testing would begin immediately afterwards. As for the official launch time, the preliminary estimate was that it would not take more than 2 months. The first 2 months of a new semester are quite busy with classes, and with Su Luli preparing her graduation thesis, the two of them could only meet every 3 or 5 days. During this period, Gu Feng's name spread almost throughout Fuxing University. The main reason was because of the confession on the playground last time. As the boyfriend of the school flower of Fuxing University, Gu Feng also became a celebrity at school, and even the instructor, his venerable old self, sometimes couldn't help but ask 2 words of gossip. Senior year, in the girls' dormitory. Finally finished editing. This time, I think I've finally got it right. Sitting at her computer desk, Dong Jia looked at the paper she had finally finished revising. She was satisfied with the result and stretched her arms out dramatically. Behind her, Su Liuli was wearing a pair of pure white pajamas and staring blankly at the computer screen. Liuli, how's your paper coming along? It's just the formatting that's wrong, so it should be easy to fix, right? Dong Jia got up, pulled her chair over to Su Lili's side, and the two of them were the only ones in the dormitory. Wang Mani and Lu Xiaoyu had gone shopping and hadn't returned yet. Well, I've finished correcting it. I'll submit it to the teacher later for her to look at. Lily, what's wrong? You don't seem to be in the right mood. Are you missing Gu Feng? Dong Jia asked cheerfully, placing her hands on Su Lili's soft, round shoulders. During this period of time, they have been busy with their graduation thesis, and their lives have been very boring, as they have been eating and writing and revising their thesis. Upon being asked by Dong Jia, Su Lili's fair and delicate jade-like neck turned slightly red. I miss Gu Feng? I think you miss your boyfriend, don't you? Humph, of course I do, so I'm going out now, do you want to come with me? Well, I'll call first. Picking up the mobile phone next to her, Su Lili found Gu Feng's phone number and dialed it. Chapter 45 Huh? It sounds like stockings. Do. At this time, Gu Feng, who was sitting in the dormitory and feeling bored, suddenly heard the phone vibrate. He picked it up and saw that it was Su Lioli's phone. Hello? Lioli. Do you have time right now? Let's go out to eat. I've finished writing my thesis. Eat? Sure. I'll clean up a bit and wait for you downstairs at your dormitory. He hadn't seen her the day before or the day before that, and today, finally, Su Lioli had taken the initiative to call him, so he had to agree happily. He rolled over and got out of bed, quickly tidying up in his dorm room. Su Lili, on the other hand, after finishing the phone call with Gu Feng, cheerfully came to the closet and carefully selected clothes. Dong Jia stood dumbfounded. Just now, she felt that Su Lili's mood was a bit off, but after just one phone call, he seemed like a different person now. Sure enough, your boyfriend Gu Feng is amazing. My beautiful school flower, what are you going to wear? Do you want me to help you choose something that's guaranteed to be sexy and charming? With our Lioli's figure and looks, if we go out later, we'll definitely charm him to death. Lioli, what do you think of this? Bouncing over to Su Lioli, she took out a short skirt and suspenders from her wardrobe. The style was very exaggerated. Looking back, she saw the short skirt and suspenders in Dong Jiejia's hands, and Su Liuli decisively shook her head. She simply couldn't wear this kind of clothing out, let alone go on a date with Gu Feng, or even go swimming at the beach. Wearing this kind of clothing would be a bit exaggerated. This one doesn't work? How about this one? A tube skirt with stockings. I remember you also have a pair of very nice crystal high heels. Match them up, and you'll be the perfect queen. She rummaged through her own wardrobe to find a set of hip-hugging skirts, and went over to Su Liuli to start trying them on. Jejia, you should wear this one yourself. I'll wear this one instead. After searching her wardrobe for a long time, she finally took out a white and yellow dress. The dress was very slender in design and completely covered her calves. If it weren't for Su Liuli's tall figure, an ordinary girl wouldn't be able to wear it. This dress was also given to her by Gu Feng's mother before, and she hadn't worn it once since then. Such a long dress. Okay, then you wear this one and I'll wear the denim skirt. While talking, she took out the denim skirt from the closet. Dong Jejia was about to turn around to change when she suddenly noticed a strange box in the middle of Su Liuli's closet. Liuli, what's that box? Underwear? Looking in the direction of Dong Jejia's finger, Su Liuli paused slightly. This box was given to her by the saleswoman when she bought underwear last time. She threw it in the closet after returning home and forgot to open it afterwards. Maybe it is, I'll open it and take a look. She didn't know what was inside, but since she remembered, she might as well open it and take a look. Su Liuli was about to open the box, and Dong Jejia was also watching curiously. She lifted the lid and inside was a sheer black piece of fabric. Huh, it looks like a pair of stockings. Liuli, you don't usually wear stockings, do you? In front of Dong Jejia, Su Liuli took out the contents of the box. When she saw what it was, her pupils shrank and she stood there dumbfounded. Even Dong Jejia, who was usually so carefree, couldn't help blushing. Su Liuli's face was flushed as she raised her trembling hand, her words stuck in her throat. After regaining her senses, Su Liuli hurriedly stuffed the object back into the box. As she panicked, her pretty face, including her earlobes, turned a bright red. Jejia, I didn't buy this, it was a gift from the saleswoman. I really didn't know it was in there. She put the box back in the closet, but it didn't feel quite right, so she took it out again. Seeing Su Liuli so embarrassed, Dong Jejia's playful spirit was aroused. She narrowed her eyes and beamed, Lily, I believe you. But since you've brought it back anyway, why don't you try it on? With your figure, you'll look absolutely stunning in this dress. He. She looked Su Liuli up and down, and Dong Jejia's behavior was that of a real tomboy. Jejia, are you laughing at me on purpose? If you think it looks good, then I'll give it to you. With her face flushed, Su Liuli directly placed the box in Dong Jejia's hands. Your gift is too valuable, I dare not accept it. Alright, I'm not teasing you anymore. What are you going to do with this? Just throw it away? Facing Dong Jejia's inquiry, Su Liuli nodded without hesitation. If this thing is seen by a few roommates, it's okay, but if it's really seen by others, she can't wash it away even if she jumps into the Yellow River. Alas, such a good thing, a pity. Liuli, are you really not considering it? Jejia, are you deliberately teasing me? Her pretty face flushed slightly as she changed her clothes and turned her head to the side. Seeing this, Dong Jejia smiled happily, put the item down next to Liuli, and ran over to the side to change her clothes as well. As she watched Liuli change her clothes, a flash of brilliance crossed Dong Jejia's eyes. Wow! This dress, it's really pretty. Su Liuli, if you wear this out, you'll get 100% of the attention. It's just a simple skirt when you put it in the closet, but when Su Liuli wears it, it's like a fairy has descended to earth. Her perfect figure, combined with her delicate and fair face, makes her stunning even for a girl, let alone the guys. It's not as exaggerated as you say. I'm in a hurry, I won't wait for you. Gu Feng may have already packed up, picked up her bag from the bed, and stuffed the box next to it into the bag, before turning and walking out of the dormitory. When she arrived outside the girls' dormitory, Gu Feng had not yet come over. Taking advantage of the fact that no one was around, she decisively threw the stuff into the trash can. Phew! She let out a sigh of relief, relieved that Gu Feng had not seen the stuff, otherwise, she would not know how to explain it. Standing in the same place, after a minute or two, Gu Feng walked over from afar. Seeing Su Liuli standing downstairs, she could not help but quicken her pace. Liuli, didn't I tell you to wait until I got here before coming out? How long have you been waiting here? Gu Feng couldn't help but ask softly as he quickly walked up to Su Lioli. While speaking, his gaze kept fixed on Su Lioli in front of him, and a flash of astonishment flashed in his eyes. She was wearing a long dress in yellow and white, her hair casually draped over her shoulders, and she was wearing canvas shoes. Her exquisite and beautiful face was bare, and she was simply extremely beautiful. It hasn't been long, I just got here. Do you like the way I'm dressed? Feeling Gu Feng's slightly surprised gaze, Su Lioli's pretty face turned slightly red as she glanced down at what she was wearing. It looks good. It looks especially good. You're beautiful in your own right, and you look good in any clothes. Without holding back his praise, Gu Feng spoke his mind, and these words fell into Su Lioli's heart, making her very happy. A woman adorns herself for the pleasure of her beloved, and to be praised as good-looking by someone you like is definitely something to be happy about. Chapter 46, The Scumbag Who Abandoned His Wife and Child. Where are we going to eat? I've been busy lately, so to make up for it, I'll treat you today. Her crystal-clear snow-white skin glowed with an ivory radiance as she gave Gu Feng a sweet smile. Gazing at his adorable and beautiful girlfriend, Gu Feng gave a wry smile, a little overwhelmed. Well, to make up for it. Is dinner really too simple? The neglect I've received during this time cannot be made up for with just one dinner. Pretending to be aggrieved, Gu Feng stared at Su Lioli's big, lake-like eyes. So, what do you think would make up for it? Gu Feng brushed back his hair and looked curiously at Su Lioli. Facing Su Lioli's query, Gu Feng's face broke into an intriguing smile, and then he raised his hand and pointed at his mouth. Reward me. Ha? What reward? She naturally understood what Gu Feng meant, but in order to tease him, Su Lioli still chose to pretend to be stupid on purpose. What reward? After ignoring me for so long, a kiss as a reward is not too much, is it? Oomph, a kiss? Over the top. Snorting lightly, she ignored Gu Feng and walked on ahead on her own. Wait. There can be no discussion about kissing, but can I kiss your cheek? Quickly catching up to Su Lioli, Gu Feng continued to ask with a smile. Originally, he had been holding back his laughter, but when Gu Feng asked him this, Su Lioli could hold back no longer and burst out laughing. He tried hard to control his smile and turned his head to the side. Lioli, is that okay? If you go any further, there will be a lot of people. The current location was near the dormitory of the senior girls. There had been very few people along the way, but if they continued to walk, they would get closer and closer to the school gate, and there would be a lot more people. With Su Lioli's easily shy personality, she definitely would not dare to kiss herself in that place. Sure enough, Gu Feng's words were quite useful. As soon as she heard that there were a lot of people in front of them, Su Lioli slowly stopped walking. The shy and adorable girl silently gazed at Gu Feng, and the next second, her lips parted slightly. Close your eyes. Good. His girlfriend wants to kiss him, so Gu Feng laughed and quickly closed his eyes. Noticing that there was no one around, Su Lioli's heart pounded with excitement. She came up to Gu Feng, stood on tiptoe, and closed her eyes, her long, dark eyelashes fluttering gently. The next second, a soft breath hit her, and Gu Feng shuddered. His arms subconsciously wrapped around Su Lioli's waist, and she felt warm and soft in his embrace. I just wanted a simple kiss, but I didn't expect Gu Feng to just hug her into his arms. Feeling Gu Feng's breath on her body, coupled with the warmth of his mouth, Su Lioli couldn't muster up the slightest strength in her body. After about 10 seconds, Su Lioli mustered up a little courage and quickly broke free from Gu Feng's embrace. Her cheeks were blushing, her hands clasped tightly together, and she simply didn't dare to look Gu Feng in the eyes. Fortunately, there was no one around, otherwise I don't know how embarrassed Su Lioli would have become. You said that it was only going to be a peck, but you were very quiet. It was obvious that Su Lioli was complaining with her lips, but she didn't really want to blame Gu Feng. Gu Feng was also a little embarrassed standing in front of Su Lioli. He didn't know what had come over him. He had just pecked her, but then he had reached out and embraced her in his arms. Lioli, I'm sorry, I'm ignoring you. He muttered softly, and Su Lioli turned around in front of Gu Feng's face. A few seconds later, she couldn't help but look behind her. Are you hungry? If we don't go eat, it'll be dark. Let's go. We're going. He came to Su Lioli's side, grabbed the other person's wrist, and quickly ran towards the outside of the school. Along the way, everyone they met, whether male or female, couldn't help but take a few extra glances in their direction. Naturally, Gu Feng could not attract the attention of so many classmates, and the main reason was still Su Lioli by his side. Lioli, I've almost become the focus of attention along the way. Gu Feng couldn't help but mutter as he followed Su Lioli around. I'm already pretty, and now with this outfit, it's no wonder I attract so much attention. After finally making it out of school, they found a small restaurant and sat down. They ordered some food, and Su Lioli rested her chin in one hand as she stared at Gu Feng in silence. Lioli? What's wrong? Are you thinking about something? Sitting across from her, he clearly noticed that something was wrong with Su Lioli, and her mood was fluctuating. I want to tell you something, but I don't know how to start. His eyes revealed a complex, as if there was something he wanted to say, but it was hard to say. He raised his hand and gently placed it on the back of Su Lily's hand, and Gu Feng said seriously, You say it, I'll listen. Gu Feng's words gave Su Lily great courage. After hesitating for a moment, she whispered, I didn't get my period last month. And it's almost over this month, but I still haven't gotten it. Am I? While talking, a sudden mist rose in her beautiful eyes. Her soft, delicate hands pulled away from Gu Feng's, and the two grasped hands together, the whole person both nervous and scared. She had thought it was just a few days late, but it was already the second month, and there was still no sign of it coming. It was inevitable that she would think about it more. No period? Gu Feng couldn't help but feel a tightening in his heart upon hearing this. He wasn't worried about himself, but about Su Lioli. The other person was a girl, and if it really happened to be the case, what should she do next? Luli, don't cry. I have time tomorrow, I'll take you to the hospital. Don't be afraid. He tried hard to comfort her, but found that it had no real effect. I'm fine, maybe I'm just being too worried. She wiped the mist in her eyes with her hand and pretended to be strong. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything, let's go to the hospital tomorrow morning. Looking at Su Luli, Gu Feng felt very guilty. If it wasn't for last time, Su Lily wouldn't be so scared and nervous. Thinking back to what he had done, he really felt like dying. Perhaps because they had to prepare to go to the hospital in the morning, the two of them hardly ate anything. They had planned to just wander around, but Su Lily said she wanted to go back to the dormitory to rest. In the blink of an eye, it was the next morning. At 7 a.m., he arrived at the bottom of Su Lily's dormitory building. Almost 10 minutes later, a familiar figure appeared in front of the dormitory door. Seeing Gu Feng, Su Lily trotted over. Compared to before, this time Su Lily had even drawn on a simple, natural makeup look. Despite the makeup, one could clearly see a hint of fatigue in the other person's eyes. Did you not get a good night's rest last night? Raising his hand, he intimately ran his fingers through Su Lily's hair, and Gu Feng felt a pang of heartache. A little insomnia. Looking at Gu Feng with a serious expression, Su Lily suddenly whispered, If I really got pregnant, would you still want me? Don't want you? Silly girl, why would you think that? Su Lioli's sudden words left Gu Feng confused. Isn't that how it's always played out on TV? TV drama? Gu Feng's expression was shocked, and for a moment, he didn't know how to refute it. Lioli, you should watch less TV dramas in the future. Your boyfriend, me, is not the kind of scumbag who abandons his wife and child. Don't think about it too much, let's go to the hospital first. Chapter 47, Really Pregnant. Pulling up Su Lily's slender jade hands, he cast a reassuring look. Gu Feng led the way, and the two walked out of the school together. Standing on the side of the road, they hailed a taxi to the nearest maternal and child hospital in Shanghai. The total journey was less than 5 kilometers, but due to the morning rush hour, it took more than 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, Gu Feng brought Su Luli to the front of the hospital. Pausing, Su Luli's eyes were full of worry. Lioli, you go in and rest first, I'll go register. Don't be afraid. After saying this to Su Lioli, Gu Feng took her arm and entered the hospital lobby. As the #1 women's and children's hospital in the city, the lobby was very luxurious. He took Su Lioli to the waiting area, told her to sit down and wait obediently, and ran to register. Holding the specialist number, he returned to Su Lioli's side. It's 8 o'clock, there are still a few minutes, let's wait a little. Nodding obediently, they waited until 8:10, when the call number began to be called. According to the content on the registration form, the two of them went to wait outside the specialist's office. The first patient finished the consultation, and then it was the turn of Gu Feng and Su Luli. Bringing Su Luli in, the attending physician was a grandmother with gray hair and a very kind face. Little girl, sit first. Where does it hurt? Greeting Su Luli to sit down, the grandmother asked very kindly. Doctor, Doctor, we want to check to see if we are pregnant. Suli was blushing and embarrassed to speak, so Gufeng, who was standing next to her, spoke for her. Well, how long has your period been late? It hasn't been late last month, and it hasn't come this month either. When was the last time you had sex? After asking almost 3 minutes, the doctor took the medical questionnaire and started writing down the test items on the machine. Young lady, don't be nervous. I'll prescribe an examination to confirm whether you are really pregnant. Urine pregnancy test. Young man, you take her and go for the examination first. The examination department is on the second floor of the hospital. Remove the consultation card and hand it to Gufeng. Okay, thank you, doctor. Luli, let's go for the examination first. After receiving the consultation card, he took Su Luli out of the consultation room and took the elevator to the second floor. The urine pregnancy test was very quick. After half an hour, Gufeng already had the test results. With the results in hand, he returned to the consultation room. After reading the results, the doctor pushed his reading glasses up and nodded. Well, you are indeed pregnant. At the doctor's words, Su Liuli's heart suddenly tightened. She bit her red lips slightly and tried hard to control her emotions. Young lady, have you felt any discomfort in the past month? In the face of the doctor's inquiry, Su Liuli just shook her head lightly. It was only the early stages of pregnancy, and it was normal for there to be no obvious changes in the body. Next, I need to check your progesterone level to rule out an ectopic pregnancy. I also recommend a blood test and an ultrasound. Okay, could you please write out a prescription? For the sake of Su Lili and the baby in her womb, she must follow the doctor's advice. After taking back the medical questionnaire, Gufeng escorted Su Lili out of the consultation room. Su Lili could no longer hold back her tears, which fell patteringly down her face. Gufeng stood nearby and held out his hand for her to lean on. After about a minute or two, Su Lili's emotions eased slightly. Gufeng, are you prepared to have a child? With tear-stained eyes, she looked up, her face serious. Yes. Definitely yes. Lily, don't worry, I'll take care of everything from here. Let's go get checked up first. Gufeng's tone was very firm as he helped Su Lili wipe away the tears on her cheeks. Su Lili hesitated for a moment upon hearing this, and then nodded. When the doctor said she was pregnant, she was really afraid that Gufeng would want to abort the baby. If that was really the case, she simply didn't know what she would do. She could never hurt her own child. They then had a blood test and an ultrasound. The ultrasound results were quick, but the blood test would take about 3 hours. During that time, he stayed by Su Liuli's side. Liuli, I won't hide anything from you. In fact, I also had trouble sleeping last night. Do you know what I was thinking about? What? Su Li's emotions eased slightly, and she asked softly. I was thinking, if I get pregnant, will it be a boy or a girl? What should I call a boy? What should I call a girl? Will the child look more like me or more like you? I don't know why I'm thinking about these things, I can't control it at all. After Gufeng finished speaking, a flash of surprise crossed Su Li's eyes, and then she whispered softly, I was like this last night, too, thinking all sorts of nonsense. I was afraid that you wouldn't want me. I'm even more afraid that you'll ask me to get rid of the baby. His tone was gentle, and he unconsciously placed one hand on his own belly, as if he could feel the little baby inside that had not yet taken shape. Gufeng heard this and smiled faintly. Even a tiger is not so cruel as to eat its own cubs. In your eyes, am I even more terrible than a tiger? It so happens that when we go home these few days, we still have to notify our families of such a big matter as pregnancy. As for Grandpa, I will go to him to beg forgiveness, and I will accept whatever punishment he wants to inflict on me. As long as he can calm down. It's easy to talk to my own family, but Su Luli's grandfather is not someone who will take lightly the fact that his granddaughter is pregnant. If he really gets angry, I think he deserves a good beating. What should I say when I go to see my aunt and uncle and grandmother? Before, when I went to see them, it was just as a boyfriend and girlfriend, but now it's different. I'm carrying Gufeng's baby. What should I do after I see them? Most importantly, she's worried that her future in-laws will be angry. Don't worry, with the personality of my parents, if they really know you're pregnant, they will treat you like a precious jewel. As for my grandmother, she would be willing to break both of my legs just to make you feel better. Although she said that, when she thought about her own grandmother, Gufeng felt a chill down his back. With her temper, she might really break his legs. Of course, it all depends on the attitude of the future granddaughter-in-law. Chapter 48, maybe the baby is hungry. And broke both your legs? Humph, I don't believe it. Speaking in a low voice, Su Luli didn't believe it at all. In response, Gu Feng could only smile wryly. What he said was the truth. Her grandmother was really like that. According to my mom's description, because of being pregnant with me, my dad got beaten up a lot back then. The grandson was so nervous, and I don't know how exaggerated it will be when it comes to the great-grandson. The two of them chatted in between words, and before long half an hour had passed. I'll take you home this Saturday and Sunday, and I've really prepared a big gift this time. I had previously joked that my parents liked children, and now, wish granted, they're really taking a child back with them. It's just that right now, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, let alone if it's one or two. Lioli? I kept talking to myself, never hearing a response from Su Lioli. When Gu Feng looked down, he saw that Su Lioli had fallen asleep on his shoulder. She was leaning peacefully on his shoulder, her profile soft and beautiful, her snow-white skin like a lotus flower emerging from the water, her small cherry lips flushed with a rosy hue, and her breathing audible. Sleep well. He hadn't had a good night's rest last night, and now that she had finally fallen asleep, he didn't want to wake her. He sat silently in his chair, motionless, trying to make Su Lioli sleep more comfortably. In the blink of an eye, an hour passed. Perhaps he wasn't sleeping comfortably, because under Gu Feng's watchful gaze, Su Lioli slowly opened his eyes. Did I fall asleep? Rubbing his eyes, Su Lioli was still in a daze. I slept for a while. What time is it? 11 a.m. It's already 11 a.m.? I slept for so long? In a daze, I only felt like I closed my eyes for a while, but I didn't realize I slept for over an hour. It wasn't that long. The test report won't be ready until the afternoon, so let's go out for lunch first. We've already checked everything that needs to be checked, and since Su Lili is pregnant and hasn't eaten anything this morning, she won't be able to hold out until lunchtime. Rumbling. As soon as Gu Feng finished speaking, there was a rumbling sound coming from Su Lili's lower abdomen. The sudden sound made Su Lili look embarrassed, and she didn't expect it to happen so coincidentally. I'm not very hungry, but maybe the baby is. The baby is hungry? Well, I think both babies are hungry. Let's go eat. Gu Feng got up with a smile, helped Su Lioli up, and walked together towards the outside of the hospital. It was nearing noon, and the restaurants outside the hospital were very popular. Even though many people chose to take out their food, the restaurants were still very crowded. They passed by several restaurants in a row, and they were all the same. Where should they eat? It seemed like everything was the same in the neighborhood. The two stood on the roadside, and Su Lioli glanced at Gu Feng beside her. If they weren't in a hurry, they could wait outside the restaurant for a while. But I don't know how long we'll have to wait. Let's go, find a restaurant with fewer people and wait. There was no choice, and Gu Feng finally decided to take Su Lioli to a nearby restaurant. When they arrived at the restaurant, they sat at the innermost table. After a full 10 minutes, the waiter finally brought the menu. After ordering, it took about half an hour before the food was served. The pace was slow enough, but the taste of the food left the two of them at a loss for words. Gu Feng, do you think it's delicious? Su Luli looked over with a worried expression on her pretty face, holding her chopsticks. Since she was young, she had eaten many difficult dishes, but none of them could compare to the ones in front of her. The shredded potatoes had no taste at all, the sweet and sour pork was horribly sour, and there was even a layer of oil floating on top of the vegetable and radish soup, which made it look unappetizing at first glance. It's terrible. It's especially terrible, 100 times worse than the food they made in high school. Gu Feng spoke seriously, and he had wanted to take Su Lioli out for a simple lunch, but he never imagined it would turn out like this. Forget it, let's go. Not even a little bit of it was edible, so Su Lioli took the initiative to put down her chopsticks, and when Gu Feng saw this, he got up as well. He couldn't even eat, let alone Su Lioli, who was pregnant. As they were leaving the restaurant, Gu Feng glanced around and suddenly saw a mobile pancake stand. Lioli, how about some pancakes? Let's go. We can't go without eating. Gu Feng took Su Lili's wrist and walked straight to the pancake stall. The woman who made the pancakes was a middle-aged woman in her 40s, wearing white gloves and with a face full of vicissitudes. Seeing a customer, the woman immediately greeted her warmly. Hello, would you like a pancake? Yes, please give us 2 pancakes with eggs. Okay. Hearing Gu Feng's words, the woman began to make the pancakes very skillfully. Next to the pancake stand, there was also a bicycle with a lot of sugar-coated hawthorn on it. Is the sugar-coated hawthorn over there also yours? Yes, the sugar-coated hawthorn is also mine. Please give me another string of sugar-coated hawthorn. Okay. While the pancakes were still heating up, the woman quickly walked over to the bicycle and took down a very large sugar-coated hawthorn. After receiving the sugar-coated hawthorn from the other person, Gu Feng immediately handed it to Su Liuli. Liuli, eat the sugar-coated hawthorn first. Oh. Gu Feng handed the sugar-coated hawthorn to her, and Su Lili didn't refuse, taking it directly. She took a small bite, and the sweet and sour hawthorn was simply too delicious. A hint of sugar paper hung from the corner of her mouth, and Su Lili's beautiful eyes slightly curved, her pretty face showing a hint of satisfaction. Little girl, how does the sugar-coated hawthorn taste? These were just made this morning, and each hawthorn was washed more than 3 times, so it's very clean. Seeing Su Lili eating so contentedly, the middle-aged woman who was frying pancakes beamed. The taste is really good, very delicious. Gu Feng, you try it. While nodding in reply, she did not forget to let the nearby Gu Feng have a bite too. He lowered his head and took a small bite of the sugar-coated hawthorn in Su Lili's hand, savoring the taste. Gu Feng could not help but nod as well. Delicious. The taste of this sugar-coated hawthorn almost completely outshines the food from the restaurant just now. It is no exaggeration to say that one is in heaven and the other is in hell. In less than 5 minutes, the 2 pancakes were ready. The 2 pancakes and a sugar-coated hawthorn on a stick cost less than 20 yuan in total, which was definitely affordable in this kind of place. They took their food back to the hospital and sat in the waiting area to wait some more. It wasn't until 2 p.m. that Gu Feng took out the test results with the consultation card and brought Su Liuli back to the doctor's office. After carefully reviewing the test results, the doctor's face broke into a smile. So far, the baby is very healthy and everything is normal. Next time you go back, you too should pay attention as well, especially with regard to diet. Avoid cold and raw foods, pickled and smoked foods, and spicy foods. Also, be especially careful, as crabs and soft-shelled turtles are cold in nature, and you should never give them to pregnant women as a tonic. The doctor specifically instructed about soft-shelled turtles and crabs. Before, there were family members of pregnant women who wanted to nourish the body of the pregnant woman, and they had soft-shelled turtle soup and steamed crabs every day. In the end, due to the food they ate, the pregnant woman had a miscarriage, which was very dangerous. Chapter 49 Sponsor 80 million. Okay, thank you, doctor. Gu Feng listened carefully, as it concerned Su Liuli and the child in her womb. He had to be on his best behavior. The pregnant woman's body is normal, eat more vegetables and fruits every day, don't do strenuous exercise, you can take a walk or go for a stroll. For now, there is no need to take folic acid, just maintain a normal diet. Doctor, when do we come back for the next pregnancy checkup? This checkup is just a basic one, and there will definitely be many more to come. This checkup is just a basic one. Around the 16th week, you will need to come back for a midterm checkup, which will mainly be used to screen for Down syndrome and assess whether the fetus has any chromosomal abnormalities. A second ultrasound will be performed at the 20th week to observe the baby's growth and development, the amniotic fluid and the position of the fetus. Now it's a little over a month, you just need to come back in 2 months for another checkup. The doctor glanced at the examination report and then registered the date of the next examination on it. Okay, we'll come back in 2 months for another checkup, thank you, doctor. After speaking to the doctor, Gu Feng looked down at Su Lili, who was sitting, and prepared to leave with her. Wait. There's one more thing, it's the early stages of pregnancy, try not to have sex. Especially young men, who are strong and vigorous, should endure it as long as they can. It's not too late to have proper sex after the 2nd trimester when the baby is a little more stable. Seeing that Gu Feng and Su Lili are so young, the gray-haired grandmother can't help but give them a few more pieces of advice. After all, they don't have much experience, and if something were to happen, that wouldn't be good. Gu Feng felt slightly embarrassed when he heard the doctor's words, and Su Lili next to him was also full of embarrassment, but she still nodded lightly. Thank you, doctor, we understand. With a simple response, the two walked out of the consultation room, one after the other. Quietly following by Gu Feng's side, Su Liuli's mind was full of the doctor's instructions just now, and her cheeks were flushed with 2 lumps of flying clouds. Her exquisite and beautiful face was as red as fire, and she was so beautiful that she was beyond description. Liuli? Gu Feng suddenly stopped in his tracks, and Su Liuli, who was still thinking about everything, didn't pay attention and directly threw herself into Gu Feng's arms. Ah. I'm sorry. When she came back to her senses, she hurriedly lowered her head and kept saying sorry to Gu Feng. What were you thinking about? You were so engrossed. I wasn't thinking about anything. But I dare not tell Gu Feng that I was thinking about the doctor's instructions. If he finds out, I'll be so embarrassed. It's still early. Shall we go back to the dormitory or go shopping? According to him, he wanted to take Su Lioli for a casual stroll, but then he thought, the other party didn't get a good night's rest last night, so shouldn't they go back to the dormitory as soon as possible to rest? I'm a little tired, so let's go back to the dormitory today. Good. I'll walk you back to the dormitory. After leaving the hospital, they hailed a cab and went straight back to Fu Hsan University. After walking Su Lioli to the bottom of the girls' dormitory building, Gu Feng stopped. I'll call you at 6 o'clock tonight and we'll have dinner together. Go back and get a good night's sleep. Very affectionate, he patted Su Lioli's head, her pretty face like snow lotus, and nodded gently at Gu Feng. Promised, and in Gu Feng's surprised gaze, Su Lioli took the initiative to tiptoe and pecked Gu Feng's face like a dragonfly. Bye. For the first time, she was so proactive, Su Lioli's face was flushed, her eyes full of charm, and without giving Gu Feng a chance to speak, she turned around and quickly ran towards the dormitory. While walking, her heart was pounding with excitement. Su Lioli, you're really not shy. She thought to herself, not knowing why she had taken the initiative to give Gu Feng a kiss on the tip of her toes. Su Lioli was blushing inside, but Gu Feng was extremely happy. He had wanted to tease her, but she had taken the initiative this time. When Su Lioli returned to the dormitory, Gu Feng got up and left. He had some time in the afternoon, so he was going to go to Yunding Technology. In addition to seeing the progress of the Pinnacle athletic events, there is also one very important thing. When he arrived at the school gate again, he waited outside for 5 or 6 minutes, but never saw a taxi. Phew! Looks like it's time to get a car. Su Lioli was pregnant, and it was inevitable that she would need a car urgently from time to time. It was really inconvenient to keep standing on the roadside waiting for a taxi. After another 5 or 6 minutes, he finally saw a taxi driving over. He waved to hail a taxi and set off in the direction of Yunding Technology. Soon, they arrived at the company building. Gu Feng did not rush upstairs, but took out his phone and hesitantly dialed his mother Song Huilan's number. Ring ring ring. At this time, in the conference room of the chairman of the Daido Jojo Group, Song Huilan's face was cold as she was in the middle of a meeting, surrounded by a group of senior executives, all of them looking serious. Buzz buzz buzz. In the quiet conference room, the phone in front of the desk suddenly vibrated, and the clear ringing sound immediately attracted everyone's attention. Song Huilan's expression of indifference eased slightly when she heard the sound. When she saw that the call was from her son Gu Feng, she picked up the phone and got up straight away. All the overseas projects are to be suspended, and the main person in charge is to be suspended temporarily. With these simple words, the faces of everyone present suddenly changed. After saying this coldly, Song Huilan took the phone and turned to walk out of the meeting room, followed closely by her assistant. Once she had walked out of the meeting room, Song Huilan immediately pressed the answer button. Rascal, what's the matter? On the other end of the line was the familiar voice of his mother. Gu Feng's calm face suddenly beamed with a smile. Mom, you and Dad are back from abroad? We are. Oh, you didn't even tell me you were back. Gu Feng couldn't help but mutter under his breath as he held the phone up to his ear. Song Huilan's mouth curled up slightly at the sound. You didn't even bother to ask, and you expect me and your father to take the initiative to call you? Tell me, what's the matter this time? From what she knew about her son, he definitely didn't just call out of the blue to ask if they had returned from abroad. Hey, you're my mother, there's nothing you can't find out about me. Your son wants to start a business, but he lacks the capital. Can you help him out? She spoke with a smile, but Song Huilan on the other end of the line fell silent. Ha? You want money? Tell me, how much do you need? As she spoke, she arrived outside her office, and her assistant Wang Xiaoye took the lead and opened the door for her. Cough cough, it's not really that much, just about 80 million. After the words fell, there was no response from the other end of the line for a long time, so Gu Feng couldn't help but continue. Mom, are you still there? He continued to ask, but there was still no response. He took the phone away from his ear, and his expression froze. No way. You hung up on me? You really are my real mother. Standing there with the phone in his hand, he had no choice but to redial his mother. As soon as the call was connected, her angry voice came over the line. 80 million, you little brat, do you think your mother runs a bank? You don't have 80 million, go ask your father for it. Chapter 50 120 million. No, my father is very busy every day, I dare not trouble him with such trivial matters. If 80 million is really too much, you can give me less. How about 70 million? If not, 60 million is fine. Gu Feng took out his phone and started bargaining without any further ado. Song Huilan on the other end of the line rolled her eyes at this, feeling speechless. They both raised their sons, but why is his so outstanding that asking for money is like bargaining at the market? 40 million. This is your mother's bottom line, no more. Too lazy to continue arguing with Gu Feng, she simply gave him 40 million to get it over with. Okay. 40 million it is. Mom, when are you going to call me back? 40 million is a relatively large sum, and he dares not ask for more. If he upsets his mother, he'll lose the money. I'll have Xiaoye transfer the money to you later, tomorrow morning at the latest. You'd better do something practical with it. If I find out you're squandering the money, I'll make your father beat you. Don't worry, I promise I won't waste it. I'll be home this Saturday and Sunday, and I'll bring you a big present. Don't worry, you won't have spent the 40 million for nothing. You go ahead and do your work, I'm hanging up now. After a brief exchange, without giving his mother a chance to say anything else, Gu Feng hung up the phone directly. Ha! Putting the phone aside, Song Huilan's face revealed a wry smile. This brat really doesn't do anything for nothing. She muttered to herself, then looked up at her assistant, who was standing not far away. Xiaoye, go to the bank later and transfer 40 million from my personal account to Gu Feng. Yes, Chairman. She replied softly, and Xiaoye Wang stood still, as if she wanted to say something but was afraid to. What is it? Is there something else? Chairman, are you really going to suspend President Bai? She shouldn't have asked, but since it concerned Bai Yufeng, she wasn't sure if the chairman had been speaking out of anger in the meeting room, so she had to ask again. Well, she'll be suspended for the time being. This matter is not that simple, and suspending her for the time being is also a way to protect her. Suspending President Bai will make the people behind this mess show their faces. I want to see who dares to stir up trouble under my nose. You don't need to tell her my intentions. Issue the document as soon as possible and announce it to the entire group. Upon hearing Song Huilan's words, Wang Xiaoye immediately understood and, after giving a promise, quickly walked out of the chairman's office. At this time, outside Yunding Technology, Gu Feng still didn't hurry upstairs. Holding his mobile phone, he dialed his father's number step by step. On the top floor of the international building in the imperial capital, Gu Xingguo was sipping tea with a few gray-haired old men. Xingguo, do you have any good ideas for the domestic economic development going forward? We old folks really can't think of any countermeasures. Leaning on his walking stick, the old man sitting opposite Gu Xingguo asked with a smile, a twinkle in his eye. If you watch the news regularly, you will definitely recognize the old man. Every time he appears on the news, it is a sure sign that the domestic financial sector is about to undergo earth-shattering changes. Old Long, you all can't think of a solution, so what can a junior like me do? If you want to stimulate the economy, you must have excellent capital support. The real estate industry is now coming to an end, so it's not realistic to use real estate to boost the economy. Sipping on a cup of tea, Gu Xingguo said leisurely. Upon hearing this, the other elderly men nodded in unison. Just in this period of time, the real estate industry may still seem to be booming, but in reality it has already reached its peak. Old Long was about to continue, but Gu Feng's phone just rang. Sorry, Old Long, I need to take this. With that, Gu Xingguo picked up his phone and walked straight to the window. From here, you can see almost half of the imperial capital at a glance. Feng, what brings you to call me today? Gu Xingguo asked with a smile. It had been a few hundred days since he had last heard from his son, so he was a little surprised to suddenly receive a call from him today. Dad, are you busy? Not really. If it's important, just say it. Well, it's not really important, but I want to start a business. Can you provide some startup capital? He spoke very quietly, as if he were embarrassed. Start a business? That's great. Wait, no, you didn't ask your mother for money? Judging from his character, if he wanted money, he would normally just ask Song Huilan directly. Why did he call his father this time? My mother won't give it to me, so I'm asking you. Since I'm so motivated, would you like to sponsor me? He acted pitifully, but he wasn't lying. His mother had indeed told him to ask his father for money. Ha ha ha. Okay, I'll sponsor you. How much do you need? Since his son had finally made a request, the father had to comply. It's not really that much. How about 80 million? What? 80 million? He had expected him to ask for a few million at most, but Gu Feng had just asked for 80 million. No wonder your mother won't give it to you. Why do you want so much money all at once? Have you gotten into trouble? Gu Jinghua looked suspicious, and Gu Feng hurriedly said, No, absolutely not. I promise. Besides, Dad, think about it, what kind of trouble could I get into that would cost 80 million? Thinking about it, Gu Feng did have a point. Asking for 80 million all at once could not be because of getting into trouble. Okay, 80 million it is. I'll have someone call you later. Is there anything else? No, there's nothing else. Dad, you're busy, I won't disturb you anymore. Having secured the sponsorship, Gu Feng hurriedly hung up the phone. 40 million for mum and 80 million for dad, which adds up to 120 million. With such a large sum of money, not to mention promoting the pinnacle of competition, it would definitely be more than enough for a few more major projects. Phew. Dad, please don't call mum. He silently prayed, put the phone back in his pocket, and walked straight into the office building, taking the elevator to Cloud Top Technology. President Gu stepped out of the elevator, and Annie had been waiting in the elevator for a long time. Take me to the meeting room. Okay, President Gu. Annie had called in advance, and Lu Qi and the others were already waiting in the meeting room as he had instructed. Compared to before, the current Cloud Top Technology was not just a little better. The entire first floor is the office area of Yunding Technology, of which the technology department occupies 1/3. The company environment is good. Has everything been normal during this period of time? Everything is fine. Some new employees have been recruited, and everyone has integrated well. In addition to the peak competition project, the technology department has also developed several mini-games. Later, Director Lu Qi will introduce them to you one by one. Chapter 51 Girlfriend? Fiancé. Good. Under Annie's guidance, they arrived at the door of the meeting room. Annie, I have a favor to ask. Gu Feng, just tell me what you want. Annie was a little taken aback when Gu Feng suddenly asked for a favor. It's not a big deal. If you have time, find out about the villas around Fuxing University for me. I want to buy one. Su Liuli is pregnant and it's inconvenient for her to continue living in the dormitory. An ordinary residential area may not be particularly quiet, but if you buy a single-family villa, you can hire a few maids to help take care of it together. Mr. Gu, you want to buy a villa in this neighborhood? Although this is not the city center, it is close to the higher education district, so prices may be slightly higher. I don't know how much you have budgeted. Shanghai is a place where every inch of land is precious, and coupled with the fact that there are several universities here, the supporting facilities for education, commerce and medical care are very complete, so prices have always been high. Even if it is not as expensive as the city center, it is not much cheaper. Budget is not a problem, I want a location that is as quiet as possible. Okay, Mr. Gu, I will go check it out in the next few days. Thank you. After saying this to Annie, Gu Feng strode into the meeting room. There were 5 or 6 people sitting in the large meeting room. In addition to Lu Qi and 2 key members of the technical department, there were also 2 people from finance and human resources. When they saw Gu Feng come in, they all stood up together. Mr. Gu. Don't be polite, just sit down. Annie, you sit too. He pointed to the chair next to the main seat, indicating that Annie should sit down too. I have no other business today, mainly to find out the progress of the peak competition test. Annie reported to me on the phone before that the test is almost over and the server has almost been set up, right? Lu Qi heard this and got up to reply, yes. Mr. Gu, the server has been set up and the peak competition can go online in a short time. However, there are still 2 problems. His tone was a bit low and he was very conflicted. What are the problems? The game will definitely need a series of promotions when it goes online, and the company's funds may not be enough. There is also a second problem. The server can only handle a small number of users, and I'm worried that if too many users log in at the same time, the server may not be able to handle it. If it crashes just a few days after going online, it will cause a large loss of users. He poured out his innermost thoughts, and frankly, the main reason was still insufficient funds. If there were enough funds, the server could be expanded, and then a large investment could be made in promotion. The pinnacle of competition would definitely become an instant hit. Expanding the server and promoting the game are not problems as long as the funds are in place. Annie, you should have talked about this before. How much funding is still needed for the plan? Lucci must have discussed this with Annie and the others before he could say these words, and there is no doubt about it. Facing Gu Feng's question, Annie didn't hide anything either. Mr. Gu, according to the requirements proposed by Director Lucci, my finance department and I have calculated that at least 10 million yuan is needed. This includes the construction and promotion of the server. If large-scale promotion is to be carried out, 10 million yuan may not be enough. The company account only has 10 million yuan, and after this period of operation, there is less than 3 million yuan left. There is no problem maintaining the launch of peak competition, but it is far from enough to quickly bring it to the market. Before preparing to invest in peak competition, he had already thought about the current dilemma. Back then, he spent nearly 100 million yuan in a single push to promote it, and within a week, it shot straight to the top 10 of the domestic game charts. In less than 3 months, it even dominated the top spot. Nowadays, with such limited funds, such a large-scale promotion is no longer realistic, but it shouldn't be too much worse. 10 million is too little, I'm budgeting around 30 million for promotion. In addition, the server needs to be strengthened, there's no doubt about that. Jingjie, by tomorrow morning at the latest, I will personally inject 50 million in working capital. Annie, Lucci, you two come up with a promotion plan as soon as possible, and stick to the 30 million budget. Gu Feng's simple words stunned everyone present. According to Lucci's estimate, if the company cannot increase its promotion budget, it is not impossible to directly launch the game. He really didn't expect Gu Feng to be so generous, not only increasing the promotion budget to 30 million in one go, but also setting aside 20 million to build the server. President Gu. You're not joking, are you? You want to invest an additional 50 million? I don't like jokes personally. That's enough about the promotion and the server. Lucci, is there anything else we need to prepare before going live? All the source codes have been tested, the only thing that's missing is the music. Music design is expensive, so I was thinking of asking some students from the music college at Shanghai University to design some simple in-store music. When it came to music, a beautiful figure unconsciously came to mind in Gu Feng's mind. President Gu? In fact, the students at the Conservatory of Music are very capable, and I don't think they are much worse than those professionals. Gu Feng did not respond for a long time, and Lucci's heart paused slightly, thinking that he had something to say about what he had just said. You're right, students at the Conservatory of Music are indeed very suitable. I do have the right candidate here, Annie, I'll give you the contact information later, and you can personally connect with him. Understood. After being in the conference room for almost 2 hours, in addition to reporting on the peak competition, Lucci also prepared 3 educational minigames. Each is novel in terms of design theme, and with Gu Feng's approval, the 3 minigames will be launched simultaneously with the pinnacle competition. After leaving the meeting room, Gu Feng returned to his office. President Gu, regarding the designer of the pinnacle competition music, you. Yes, I'll give you the contact information. After giving Annie Su Luli's name and contact information, and seeing that it was a girl, Annie looked at Gu Feng with a puzzled expression. President Gu, is this Miss Su related to you? She's my girlfriend. Oh, no, it's more appropriate to say fiancé. Su Liuli is pregnant, so it's obviously not quite right to say girlfriend, and it seems wrong to say wife, so it's more appropriate to say fiancé. When you get in touch, don't mention me, do it in the company's name. If she's willing, carry on as normal, but if not, don't push it. Also, offer a higher salary. The reason I want her to help design the music is mainly to avoid the other person having to work hard at another part-time job. Designing music is undoubtedly a lot easier than working part-time at a kindergarten. Okay, Mr. Gu, I understand what you mean. Well, if there's nothing else, I should go too. Take care of things here at the company, and call me anytime if there's anything. With these words, Gu Feng slowly walked out of the office, took the elevator to the outside, looked at the time, and there was still a while before 6 p.m., so he could go back to the dormitory and rest for a while. Chapter 52, Preparing to Go Home. At this time of day, Jiang Yu and the others should all be in the dormitory. Taking a taxi back to Fuxing University, he pushed open the dormitory door and, as expected, Jiang Yu and Xiao Kai were both in the dormitory. As for Zhang Tinia, there was no need to think, he must have gone to keep his girlfriend company. Hey! Gu Feng, why are you back? Didn't you go out on a date with Miss Su this afternoon? Seeing Gu Feng suddenly come in, Zhang Yu and Xiao Kai were both surprised. Since Gu Feng and Zhang Tinia found girlfriends, the two of them were often not in the dormitory. No, it's not time for a date yet. I came back to rest for a while. You two have been in the dormitory the whole time? Not going out for a stroll? Coming to a stop by the bed, Gu Feng directed his gaze at Zhang Yu. Upon hearing his words, Zhang Yu glanced at Xiao Kai and gave a bitter smile. The two of us go out for a stroll? I'd rather sleep in the dorm than go out for a stroll with him. Ha? Zhang Yu, what do you mean? Do you find it hard to go out for a stroll with me? Xiao Kai was taken aback, not expecting Zhang Yu to say such things. No, that's not what I meant. What I meant was that it's no fun for the two of us to go out for a stroll, and it's more comfortable to sleep in the dorm. That's more like it. The two men exchanged a few words, and Gu Feng could only smile without saying anything. He rolled over onto his back, lay quietly on his pillow, and thought that he would just rest for a while. But he didn't expect that after closing his eyes, he fell into a deep sleep. When he opened his eyes again, it was already 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock? Shit, I'm running late. He hurriedly got out of bed. The time he had agreed with Su Liuli was 6 o'clock, but he had overslept after waking up. Gu Feng, are you coming back tonight? Seeing that Gu Feng was about to rush out the door, Zhang Yu, who was lying on the bed, asked with a smile. I'll be back. I'll definitely be back. After saying that, he pulled open the dormitory door and ran outside without looking back. In just a few minutes, Gu Feng arrived near the girls' dormitory. He was about to take out his phone to call Su Liuli when he suddenly saw a familiar figure in the distance. Su Liuli was dressed in casual clothes, looking tall and slender, and her figure was even more perfect against the backdrop of her jeans. Her black hair fluttered in the wind, and when she saw Gu Feng, her eyes twinkled with charm as she quickly trotted over to him. You're here. Her nose was straight and her cheeks were slightly flushed. Su Liuli looked both beautiful and cute in this state. Didn't you say you'd call me before coming down? How long have you been waiting here? Well, it wasn't that long. I came down at 6, but it's only been 2 or 3 minutes. With a faint smile, Su Liuli looked up at Gu Feng. What are we having for dinner? Let's go out and take a look first. Okay. He. Without the slightest regard for whether there were people around, Su Liuli very intimately put her arm around Gu Feng's arm. This sudden action made Gu Feng a little confused. Did something happen? Why do you look so happy? Gu Feng wondered as they walked along. In response to Gu Feng's inquiry, Su Liuli nodded immediately. Something's up. Someone contacted me today and asked me to help design the music for a game. The pay is very good. Starlight twinkled in Su Lily's eyes. As a top student at the Conservatory of Music, Su Lily knew that it wasn't too difficult to design the music for a game as long as she had enough time. Really? That's something to be happy about. You said the pay is good, how much is it exactly? Gu Feng asked with a smile, but Su Lily shook her head and said, I'm not telling you. She stuck out her tongue, made a super cute little face, and let go of Gu Feng's arm, so Su Lily couldn't help but quicken her pace. Still not telling me? He shrugged his shoulders. Since Su Lily wouldn't say, he didn't want to ask. He had already told Annie, so he didn't think she would give too little. He walked around outside the school with Su Liuli, and eventually arrived at a noodle shop. They each ordered a dish of green onion oil noodles. Feeling that it was about time, he sent Su Liuli back to the dormitory and returned to the boys' dormitory himself. The next day arrived. In the morning, 2 consecutive phone calls came, and his mother's 40 million and his father's 80 million arrived one after the other. With 120 million in his hands, he contacted Du Jingjing first and transferred 50 million to the public account of Yunding Technology. Almost at the same time, Annie sent the promotion plan to his email. Promotion is nothing more than advertising. In today's society, advertising is generally invested in television and movies, or some variety shows with higher popularity. Annie's promotion plan selected the currently popular television and variety shows, and most of the budget was put on them. For the promotion plan, he himself thought it was quite good. With the promotion plan finalized, Lucci is currently rebuilding the server, and Su Liuli is preparing the background music, so the pinnacle competition is about to go live. 2 days later, it was Friday. There were no classes in the afternoon, so he bought a 1 o'clock flight and was ready to take Su Luli home. In the imperial capital, when she heard that Sun Zi was about to bring his future daughter-in-law back, her grandmother had hardly slept all night. She sat on the sofa in the living room, leaning on her walking stick, and asked the time numerous times. "Mom, Jingwa just called, he'll be back in a while." "The kids haven't even boarded the plane yet, so it's no good just waiting like this. Why don't you go back and take a nap for a while? The flight from Shanghai to home takes at least 3 or 4 hours. You can't just sit here the whole time." Song Huilan held a cup of warm water in her hand, trying hard to persuade the elderly woman to go back and rest. However, her heart was worried about her grandson and granddaughter-in-law, and no matter what she said, the elderly woman just didn't want to go back to sleep. There was really nothing she could do, so she had to sit on the sofa with the elderly woman and wait. Shanghai. Outside Fuxing University, Gu Feng took Su Liuli and took a taxi to the airport. Along the way, Su Liuli didn't say a word, her delicate hands tightly grasping Gu Feng's, as if she were very nervous. "Liuli, are you a little nervous?" Recalling her gaze from the window, Su Liuli nodded lightly. Before, she had been nervous going as a girlfriend, and now, with a baby growing inside her, the nervousness was directly pulling at her. "My parents are very easygoing, and my grandmother is even better, so you don't need to be nervous. You'll know when you meet them." Subconsciously, she raised her hand and gently pinched Su Liuli's blushing face. The driver in front was still driving, and when he was disturbed by Gu Feng's intimate action, Su Liuli's pretty face suddenly turned red. After glancing at Gu Feng, she turned her head and continued to look out the window. "Right, didn't you say you wanted to design game music? How's it going?" She picked a random topic to chat about to distract Su Liuli and make her less nervous. Chapter 53, completely ignored. It's almost done. Jia and Mani will make a few minor revisions and send it to the person for testing today. There shouldn't be any problems. Although the person they contacted was herself, the other party's time requirements were relatively urgent, so she asked Dong Jia and Wang Mani to help with the production. After 4 people continuously tested the design, the draft version sent to the other party last night was approved this morning, so they can continue to fine-tune it. Sitting in the car, they chatted in between words. Half an hour later, the taxi pulled up steadily outside the airport. Pulling Su Liuli out of the car, they entered the airport through security control. At 12:40, before boarding the plane, they sent a text message to Su Liuli's mother, Song Huilan. At 1 o'clock, the plane took off on time. "It's still early, you go to sleep for a while." Sitting next to Su Liuli, Gu Feng gently took Su Liuli's delicate hand and said, Nodding silently, Su Liuli slowly closed her eyes. Leaning back in her chair, her stunning profile and long eyelashes were simply breathtaking. Su Liuli slept peacefully, and Gu Feng withdrew his gaze, promptly following her lead in closing his eyes. At this moment, inside the Gu Manor in the imperial capital. "Mom, Lon and I will go pick her up, you're too old to come with us. Just wait at home with peace of mind." Gu Jinghua and Song Huilan sat together, while Grandma Gu Feng, leaning on her walking stick, shook her head and refused to budge when she heard this. "My 2 children are back for the first time, and I must go to pick them up. The reason I have been waiting in the living room is so that I can meet my future granddaughter-in-law as soon as possible." "Forget it, Jinghua, let me come with you. You know how stubborn she is." The old lady was so determined, and Song Huilan, standing next to Gu Jinghua, couldn't help but persuade her in a low voice. "All right. I'll have the driver bring the car over." As the time passed, it was approaching 4 p.m., and the plane began broadcasting the information about landing early. After hearing the broadcast, Su Liuli's heart began to beat faster uncontrollably. She was about to meet her future in-laws, and it was impossible to say that she wasn't nervous. 10 minutes passed, and the plane landed steadily. She got off the plane with Su Liuli, took the suitcase, and walked towards the outside of the airport. At this time, outside the airport, 2 brand new and consecutive number stretch limousines were parked on the roadside. An old grandmother with white hair was leaning on a cane, followed by 2 middle-aged people, a man and a woman. "Gu Feng, I'm scared." Just as she took her first step out of the airport, Su Liuli suddenly stopped, her pretty face looking nervously at Gu Feng. It was fine while on the plane, but as soon as they got off, she suddenly felt her legs go out of control. "Scared? Haha, Liuli, we're almost home, isn't it a bit late to be scared now? Don't worry, my parents aren't some kind of monsters, they're not going to eat you." With a light laugh, he took one hand to hold onto his suitcase and the other to tightly grasp Su Liuli's wrist, striding towards the roadside outside the airport. Mom, look, isn't that Gu Feng? Suddenly noticing a familiar figure in the distance, Song Huilan raised her hand and pointed to the left front. Grandma Song, upon hearing this, looked in the direction her daughter-in-law was pointing, and after looking hard for a while, she finally determined, it's Feng. It's that brat. And next to him is that girl, Lioli? Oh, when I look at them, they really do make a good-looking couple. Grandma Song's face, which had been lined with age, was now beaming with a smile, and she leaned on her walking stick as she prepared to go forward to greet them. Mom, you stay here, I'll go greet them. After saying this, Gu Jinghua strode towards Gu Feng, followed by two chauffeurs, one of whom was right behind him. My father is here. These simple 4 words made Su Luli's face freeze for a moment, and she hurriedly gathered her wits. Dad. Hello, Uncle. Gu Feng called out Dad, and Su Luli hurriedly followed suit and called out Uncle. Hey. Luli girl, you finally arrived. Let's go, let's get in the car first. Your aunt and grandmother came especially to pick you up, and they're still waiting over there. He glanced at his son Gu Feng, decisively leaving him aside, and Gu Jinghua warmly greeted Su Liuli and walked forward. After taking a dozen steps forward, when he arrived in front of Song Huilan and his grandmother, Su Liuli blushed and quickly called out, Auntie, Grandma. Liuli, come over here quickly. Grandma, leaning on her walking stick, beckoned Su Liuli to come over. Girl, you finally arrived. Were you tired from the plane ride? Are you hungry now? You really look good. Grandma was just saying that you and Xiaofeng look good together. Now that I see you, I really think she was praising you. Grandma said with a smile, holding Su Liuli's hand. Hearing this, Gu Feng, who had been completely ignored, suddenly felt a dark line across his face. After all, he is a grandchild, so there is no need to be so sarcastic. Lioli. We have prepared a lot of delicious food for you at home, let's go home first. Come, you and your grandma get in the car first. Song Huilan stood by the car door. Grandma, let me help you. Grandma was so enthusiastic, and Su Liuli's nervousness immediately dissipated a lot. She raised her arm and helped her grandma get on the bus first. Liuli, you go up too. Your grandma heard that you were coming and didn't sleep much last night. You can see how happy the old lady is when you meet. Song Huilan said with a smile, helping Su Liuli get on the bus by the arm. After the 3 got on the bus, Gu Jinghua followed suit, and finally, when the door was about to close, they realized that their son, Gu Feng, was still standing outside. Feng, what are you daydreaming about? Hurry up and get in the car. You must be exhausted after a long car ride, so let Liuli go back and rest for a while. Song Huilan waved at Gu Feng, and the latter's mouth trembled slightly at the sound. Fortunately, you all still remember me. For a moment, he thought he was going to be left here, but fortunately his mother noticed him in time. If it weren't for Liuli, do you think we would have come here to pick you up? Liuli, do you like anything to eat? Tell your auntie, and I'll go home and cook it for you. Auntie, I. Su Liuli hadn't answered yet, but Gu Jinghua took the lead and picked up the conversation. Liuli, don't let your auntie cook, no one will eat her food. What? Say that again? His gaze shifted away from his future daughter-in-law and Song Huilan looked across at Gu Jinghua, her eyes instantly cold. Air. It's not really that bad, you can still eat it when you're really hungry. Ha 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 ha. Along the way, Grandma Gu Feng and her mother Song Huilan kept chatting with Su Liuli. When the car slowly entered the Gu Manor, Gu Feng took Su Liuli off the car. Seeing the surroundings, Su Liuli's mouth opened slightly, and she was shocked. This is your home? The tone was soft, close to Gu Feng's side. The huge single-family villa in front of her, with lawns and greenery in the distance, and pine trees planted on the lawn to welcome guests. There were rockeries behind the villa, and from here, you couldn't even see the gate. Chapter 54, Soft-Shelled Turtle Soup? Hairy Crab? What really dumbfounded Su Luli was that not far away there were actually a few ants pruning the greenery. Luli, come, go in with Grandma. HM. With a cane, Grandma waved her hand, and Su Luli hurriedly came to the old lady's side when she heard her. Luli, does Xiaofeng bully you on weekdays? If he dares to bully you, you tell Grandma, and Grandma will break his legs for you. With her walking stick, Grandma walked slowly forward. After hearing the domineering words of the elderly, Su Liuli's mouth immediately opened wide. Before, she thought that Gu Feng was exaggerating, but she never expected the elderly to actually say such things. No. Grandma, Gu Feng is very good to me. Su Liuli blushed as she finished speaking, and an amiable smile immediately appeared on Grandma's face. So you're defending him already? Ha ha ha. Although Fong is naughty and mischievous most of the time, he is very serious about his relationships. As she spoke, Su Liuli helped her grandmother into the living room. Seeing the interior decoration, Su Liuli was once again taken aback. Someone who didn't know would never imagine that this was a home. The magnificent decoration was not inferior to a palace. Grandma, I bought you a dress, I'm not sure if it fits. Wait here, I'll go get it. Before coming here, she bought a few more gifts for her grandmother and uncle. Although they were not very expensive, they were all carefully selected by her. Girl, you also brought gifts for your grandmother? Show them to her quickly. Grandma hasn't received a gift in many years. Upon hearing that her future granddaughter-in-law had prepared gifts for her, the old lady's face was full of smiles and she was extremely happy. After asking her to sit down, Su Liuli quickly walked over to the suitcase. Gu Feng saw this and volunteered to help. After opening the suitcase, he found, in addition to 2 sets of clothes for Su Liuli to change, there were also several gift bags, all containing gifts. Grandma, these are the clothes I brought you. I'm not sure if they fit. Try them on. He took out a blouse from the bag. The red blouse was embellished with golden lace, which looked very festive. The elderly generally prefer festive colors, and Grandma Gu Feng was no exception. When she saw the clothes her granddaughter had brought over, the old lady was overjoyed and got up with the help of her walking stick. They look great. Girl, you have such a good eye. Let me try them on. She put down her walking stick, picked up the clothes in Su Liuli's hands, and tried them on immediately. It turned out that the clothes, which had been bought according to her height and weight, fit her perfectly. They were just like clothes made to measure. Xingua, Huilan, come and take a look. This is the clothes girl bought for me. It looks good, doesn't it? Ha ha ha. The old lady didn't just look at it herself, she also asked Song Huilan and Gu Xingua to come and have a look together. Mom, I really can't say no, you really look good in this dress. Song Huilan walked over and helped her mother-in-law tidy up her blouse, then nodded with a smile. Mom, Liuli has a present for you. As Gu Feng finished speaking, and in the surprised gaze of Song Huilan, Su Liuli took out the scarf. Seeing that she had a present as well, Song Huilan's smile grew even wider. She took the scarf with both hands and tied it around her neck. Liuli, is this really a gift for your aunt? Silly girl, you're already making your aunt very happy by coming here, and you even brought a gift for her. Tomorrow morning, when I have some time, I'll take you out shopping. She would cancel a meeting at work tomorrow just to spend time with her daughter-in-law. She really liked her daughter-in-law, who was so sensible and pretty. Gu Xingua, as the head of the family, couldn't help but show a wry smile as he watched his mother and wife both receive gifts. Dad, what's that look on your face? I didn't say I didn't get you a gift. This is a pen that Liuli picked out for you. Do you like it? He took out a gift box and handed it to his father. Before the box was even opened, the blank expression on his face disappeared instantly, replaced by a happy smile. I like it. I like it. Air. You like it before you even open it? Ha ha ha, I like it even before I open it. This is a token of my daughter's affection. While talking, he opened the pen case, took out the pen inside, and hung it on the front pocket of his shirt without hesitation. Grandma was wearing a red top, Mom was wearing a scarf, and Dad was hanging the pen in front of him, all of them beaming with smiles. Girl, wait here, Grandma has a present for you too. Wearing a festive red top, Grandma walked towards her room with her walking stick. A few minutes later, to the surprised looks of Su Liuli and Gu Feng, the elderly person came out with a box. My dear, this is a bracelet I have prepared for you. Try it on. When she opened the box, a bright green jade bracelet caught her eye. Without a doubt, a jade bracelet of this quality was worth a fortune. Even Su Li, who knew nothing about jade, knew the bracelet was very valuable and quickly refused in front of her grandmother. Grandma, it's too valuable, I can't accept this gift. It doesn't matter if it's valuable or not. The bracelet is a gift from your grandmother to you, and that makes all the difference. Come on, Feng, you help the girl put it on. She took out the bracelet and handed it directly to Gu Feng. Good. Liuli, let me help you put it on. She picked up the bracelet and put it on in the dazed gaze of Su Liuli. It's a good thing, the size just fits. Mom, when did you prepare a gift for Liuli? You didn't tell us either, I forgot to prepare it. Song Huilan came to her mother-in-law's side with embarrassment. It was embarrassing for the elderly to give a gift to her future granddaughter-in-law, and for her, the mother-in-law, to have prepared nothing. "Mom, Huilan, dinner is ready, let's come over and have dinner first." Yes, let's eat first." "Su Liuli, you must be hungry after such a long flight. Auntie will take you to dinner." She took Su Liuli's hand and walked towards the dining room, while Gu Feng took the initiative to support his grandmother. "You're a lucky guy, you found a beautiful and sensible girl like Luli. You must treat her well, do you hear me?" Smiling at Gu Feng, Song Huilian was, deep down, 10,000% satisfied with Su Luli. "Don't worry, I promise I'll treat her well." They arrived at the restaurant chatting and laughing. After everyone had taken their seats, the aunts quickly brought out the prepared dinner. "Luli, this is soft-shelled turtle soup, I'll ladle some for you first." The soup was served first, and Song Huilan pretended to take the spoon and ladle some for Su Liuli. "Wait. Mom, Liuli doesn't like soft-shelled turtle, so you don't need to ladle her any." "Doesn't like soft-shelled turtle? Okay, then we'll start with a hairy crab. The aunts bought these live crabs this morning, they're very delicious." No soft-shelled turtle soup, and Song Huilan was about to hand Su Liuli a hairy crab. "Wait." Gu Feng saw this and hurriedly spoke up to stop him. "What's wrong now?" Song Huilan looked at Gu Feng with a puzzled expression in her hands holding the hairy crab. "Mom, actually, Luli doesn't like seafood, so why don't you just give me the hairy crab?" "Are you kidding me? First the soft-shelled turtle soup, and now the hairy crab. Mom, this is clearly an attempt to murder your grandson." He clearly remembered that the doctor had specifically instructed that soft-shelled turtle soup and crabs, which are cold in nature, should not be eaten. Chapter 55, I really can't eat anymore. Don't like seafood? Liuli, is this true? With a hairy crab on the chopsticks, Song Huilan didn't know if what her son said was true. Concerning the health of the baby in her stomach, under Gu Feng's gaze, Su Liuli nodded lightly. "It's fine, if we don't like it, we won't eat it. There are still a lot of dishes on the table, which one do you like to eat? Tell Auntie, and I'll give you a helping." "It's all Gu Feng's fault. I called him and he said you didn't have any food restrictions." While speaking, she didn't forget to complain about Gu Feng a little. Facing his mother's complaints, Gu Feng didn't have the mood. He did say on the phone that Su Liuli didn't have any food restrictions, but at that time, he didn't know about the pregnancy yet. "Auntie, I'll just eat some vegetables." "How can you just eat vegetables? If you don't like anything else, you always like chicken legs, right? Here, let me give you a chicken leg." Song Huilan picked up the male serving chopsticks next to her and picked up the biggest chicken leg and put it on Su Liuli's plate. "After eating this big chicken leg, I guess I don't need to eat any other dishes." "Huilan, Luli likes to eat vegetables, so you pick some of those over there." These vegetables were all grown in Grandma's backyard, so they are guaranteed to be fresh and pollution-free. Not only did Song Huilan pick vegetables, but her grandmother, who was sitting in the main seat, followed her lead. As a result, throughout the meal, Su Liuli's plate was full to overflowing. "Auntie, I'm really full." The future mother-in-law kept on serving food, and Su Liuli, sitting next to her, looked nervous and at a loss for what to do. Her stomach was so full that just looking at the food on her plate made her feel scared and she couldn't eat a thing. Okay, Auntie won't serve you any more food. Then you can help yourself to whatever you like. If you can't reach it, I'll move it over a bit for you." Under the table, Su Liuli kicked Gu Feng's calf gently with her toes, her big, innocent eyes blinking as she looked at the food on her plate that her aunt had just served. With just one look, Gu Feng instantly understood what Su Liuli meant. He coughed lightly to ease the awkwardness, and while his mother wasn't looking, he picked up the food on Su Liuli's plate and put it in his own bowl. One after the other, the dishes piled high, and finally disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. "Su Liuli, it's still early today, are you tired?" After eating, Song Huilan put down her chopsticks. "Not tired. If not tired, do you want to go out shopping with your aunt? The shopping malls in the imperial capital are very lively at night, and your aunt will take you out for a stroll. Today, I was supposed to prepare a gift, but I was so busy that I forgot. If we go shopping tonight, we can pick some up." "Great, thank you, Auntie." Auntie said she wanted to go shopping, and Su Liuli agreed without thinking. "Gu Feng, do you want to go together?" Swallowing the food in his mouth, Gu Feng pointed at himself. "Me? Yes, let's go together." After all, this was Su Liuli's first time here, and he wasn't very familiar with his own mother. If he didn't go, the other party would definitely be nervous. Fong, I didn't know when you became such a good eater. Everyone else had eaten almost everything, and only Gu Fong was still eating voraciously. Since we're going together, you should hurry up and eat. I'll give Aunt Bai a call. Aunt Bai? Mom, you're bringing Aunt Bai along too? Gu Fong couldn't help but show a bitter expression on his face when he heard this. Aunt Bai, as Song Huilan called her, was Bai Yufeng, one of the deputy CEOs of the Kyushu Group. She was in her early 40s and had a quirky personality. When he was little, he had been bullied a lot. Right, she's been trying to go shopping with me for a while now, but I haven't had the time. Today is a good day to go shopping together. And she knows that Liuli is coming over, and has been pestering me to let her meet her. Liuli, your Aunt Bai is my best friend. Can we take her shopping with us later? Gu Feng's opinion was not important. Whether they could take Bai Yufeng along would depend on the future daughter-in-law's wishes. Yes, we can. I have no objection. Su Liuli stood next to Gu Feng and responded as soon as she heard Song Huilan's question. Good, then I'll call her now. You're a very interesting Auntie Bai, you'll see when we meet later. She took the phone and put it to her ear, smiling as she explained. While Song Huilan was making the call, Su Liuli turned to her grandmother. Grandma, my auntie and I want to go out and play, do you want to come with us? My dear, I'm old, I'm worried that I'll affect you, so you young people go ahead. Sitting in her chair, Grandma shook her head. Deep down, she really wanted to go out for a walk, as she hadn't been out in a long time. Grandma listened to Luli and said, you go out and have a look around with us. Let Luli keep you company, it's fine. Knowing her very well, she said no, but deep down she really wanted to go out with them. My dear, are you really willing to let Grandma go with you? Well, I can hold on to you. Ha, okay, then Grandma will shamelessly go with you. It's been a long time since I went out, and this is a good chance to get some fresh air. It'll only take a minute or two. After Song Huilan finished her phone call, Bai Yufeng rushed to the Gu residence as soon as she got the call. After they had eaten and drunk their fill, the maids tidied up the dining room. Song Huilan led the way, and Su Liuli helped her grandmother to the sofa and sat her down. Liuli, sit down and rest for a while. I'll ask the maid to get you some fruit. What would you like to eat? She motioned for Su Liuli to sit with Gu Feng's grandmother, and Song Huilan picked up the fruit plate on the coffee table. Auntie, I don't want anything. I really can't eat anymore. She looked down at her stomach, which had gone from flat to a little bulge. Huilan, just cut some fruit and bring it over. Oh, I know, Mom. Song Huilan turned with the fruit tray, while Grandma took Su Luli's hand and happily chatted. Luli, do your parents know you're here? Are they happy with this phone boy? Grandma, Suli has been living with her grandfather, and he doesn't know about the two of us being together. Gu Feng spoke up in time. Upon hearing this, Grandma's kind eyes momentarily lost focus, and even her sitting father, Gu Jinghua, couldn't help but slowly sit up straight. My girl, Grandma didn't mean it. Grandma didn't know in advance what she just said, so you shouldn't take it to heart. Trembling, Grandma took Su Li's small hand, her eyes filled with pain. Such a pretty and obedient child, but she has such a background. She grew up with her grandfather and has suffered so much. It's okay, Grandma, I've been used to it for so many years. My grandfather was very good to me. About me being with Gu Feng, I want to tell him in person. Mom, Liuli is right. It's better to let this kid Gu Feng accompany Liuli back home and tell the elders in person. Chapter 56 Morning Sickness? After my father, Gu Jinghua, said so, Grandma didn't ask anymore. After about 10 minutes, Song Huilan came out with fruit, and at the same time, a middle-aged woman in trendy clothes, wearing a fragrant wind jacket, entered the living room. She wasn't very tall, and she was dressed very exquisitely, but the most conspicuous thing was her blonde curly hair. It sparkled in the sunlight, and if you didn't look at her face, you would definitely mistake her for a foreigner. Huilan. Oh, Gu Feng, you're back. Seeing Gu Feng sitting on the sofa, Bai Yufeng came up behind him and patted him on the shoulder. Before Gu Feng could turn around, his eyes noticed Su Luli on the other side. Her skin was as white as snow, her figure was light, and her exquisite and beautiful facial features made her stand out. Luli? My goodness, Luli, you're so pretty. With one hand covering her mouth, she made a very exaggerated expression. In the midst of everyone's shocked gazes, Bai Yufeng quickly walked up to Su Liuli. Liuli, seriously, Auntie Bai has traveled all over the world for so many years, and I've never seen a girl as pretty as you. This guy Gufeng is just too lucky, how could he find such a pretty girl? A pair of hands tightly grasped Su Liuli's wrist, and Bai Yufeng's mouth was watering at the sight. Song Huilan had said that Aunt Bai was very funny, but she never imagined that she would be so exaggerated. Su Liuli sat dazedly on the sofa, not knowing what to say for a while. Yufeng. Be quiet for a while. Can you behave normally and not scare Liuli? After placing the 2 plates of fruit on the coffee table, Song Huilan scolded a little, took Bai Yufeng's hand, and asked her to sit on the other side of Gufeng's grandmother. Liuli, don't be afraid, your Aunt Bai is just like this, eccentric and exaggerated. Here, Auntie has washed some fruit for you, have some. Do you want some jackfruit? This jackfruit was just peeled by Auntie, it's very fresh. Song Huilan lifted the plate with the jackfruit on it and handed it to Su Liuli. She had been in the kitchen for so long because she had to peel the jackfruit, and it took her 10 minutes of hard work to peel just a small plateful. Thank you, Auntie. I was still halfway through my sentence when, probably due to the smell of the jackfruit, a wave of nausea washed over Su Liuli's lower abdomen. Luli. Seeing that Su Liuli was going to vomit, Gufeng hurriedly got up, took Su Liuli's arm, and led her quickly towards the living room bathroom. What's going on? Does Liuli not like jackfruit? He quickly put down the plate and watched as Gufeng led Su Liuli to the bathroom. Song Huilan and the others looked confused, sitting next to her grandmother. Bai Yufeng's eyes narrowed slightly, and she suddenly thought of something. Su Liuli's dry heaving was very similar to that of a pregnant woman. When she was pregnant, about 6 weeks in, she would always have dry heaves for no reason, and she wouldn't dare smell anything with the slightest bit of stimulation. Wang Ma, take this plate of jackfruit to the kitchen first. Yes, ma'am. Obeying Song Huilan's orders, Wang Ma quickly took the jackfruit on the coffee table to the kitchen. In the bathroom, Su Liuli was lying on her stomach on the sink, dry heaving. Gufeng stood silently behind her, holding a bottle of mineral water in his hand. After about 5 minutes, the feeling of nausea gradually dissipated, and Su Liuli slowly stood up straight. I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong, I suddenly feel like throwing up. Standing in front of Gufeng, Su Liuli's beautiful eyebrows were lightly furrowed, and a light worry swept across her delicate face. Her originally extraordinarily beautiful appearance added a sense of pity that made my heart flutter. What's there to be sorry about? Drink some water first. Do you feel better now? The mineral water was handed to Su Liuli, and Gufeng's eyes were full of concern. Much better. You don't feel well, so I'll tell my mom and we'll go shopping tomorrow morning. No, I'm fine now. Outside, Auntie Bai, and Grandma are waiting to go out together, and besides, she really doesn't feel anything now, and the nausea just lasted a short while. Let's go out. Su Liuli said, taking Gufeng's hand and walking out of the bathroom. Upon seeing Gufeng and Su Liuli return, Song Huilan hurriedly came forward. Liuli, are you okay? Are you not feeling well? Why don't you go to bed early tonight, and I'll take you out shopping tomorrow morning? It's okay, Auntie. I was probably just too full from dinner. I'm fine now. Are you sure? Song Huilan frowned slightly, still a little worried. Are you sure? Okay, that's good. Then let's clean up and go out shopping. After Song Huilan finished speaking, Su Liuli came over to her grandmother on her own initiative. Grandma, let me help you. Good. Seeing Su Liuli by her side, the old lady was very happy in her heart. Bai Yufeng saw this and happily came over to Song Huilan and Gufeng. Aunt Bai, haven't you always been abroad? Why do you have time to come back this time? As they walked out, Gufeng asked Bai Yufeng beside his mother in a low voice. Upon hearing this, Bai Yufeng looked at Song Huilan speechlessly, and upon hearing her son's words, Song Huilan's face also turned a little embarrassed. I have time to come back, and this is thanks to your mother. Thanks to my mother? She transferred you back from abroad? With a face full of surprise, she herself, although Aunt Bai is not very reliable in her daily life, she is a good manager of the company. Having helped the Kyushu group manage it abroad for so many years, for no reason at all, how could my mother transfer her back? What transfer? Your mother has suspended me. I am now free from responsibilities. Gufeng glanced at her, and Bai Yufeng followed Su Liuli and her grandmother cheerfully into the car. Suspended? This is a long story, and I can't explain it to you in a short time. leaving behind a sentence, Song Huilan followed by Yufeng into the car. Gu Feng saw this and simply didn't think about it anymore. His mother must have her reasons for doing this. Before his rebirth, he heard that Aunt Bai had returned when he was at school, and he thought that must have been when his mother was suspended. However, in the following 6 months, there was a major reshuffle of the senior management within the Kyushu group, especially in the overseas branches, where almost the entire middle and senior management was replaced. Now that he thinks about it, it may be directly related to this time when Aunt Bai was suspended. Everyone got into the car, and Gu Feng instructed the driver to drive. There are not many high-end shopping malls near the Gu Manor, and the nearest one is also more than 5 kilometers away. After driving for 10 minutes, they arrived at a larger comprehensive commercial area. Su Luli helped her grandmother get off the car first, and then Bai Yufeng and Song Huilan followed. Luli, let's go this way. The shopping mall here is lively. Song Huilan pointed to the side with her finger. The shopping mall in front of them was called the International Trade Building and was wholly owned by the Kyushu Group. To put it bluntly, the shopping mall in front of them was their family's property. Chapter 57, I'm really pregnant. Great. Su Liuli supported her grandmother, while Song Huilan and Bai Yufeng led the way. As for Gu Feng, he silently followed behind his grandmother and Su Liuli with the driver. Entering the International Trade Building, the interior was luxuriously decorated, and it would not be an exaggeration to describe it as resplendent. Liuli, the first floor is a variety of clothing areas, and I will take you to buy some clothes first. Take a look, do you like any of them? The aisles are lined with luxury brand boutiques, with luxurious decorations and attentive service. The quality is very high, and the prices are quite expensive. Auntie, the clothes you gave me last time, I still have a lot of them and I haven't worn them once, so I can't buy any more. Su Luli was serious as she took her grandmother's arm. She wasn't being polite, but it was true. The clothes she had been sent to school with last time were more than enough, and she simply couldn't wear them all. That was last time, this is this time. A girl, having a bit more clothing is fine. If you don't want to pick them yourself, then I and your Aunt Bai will have to help you. Upon hearing Song Huilan's words, Su Lily's little face twisted as she looked at Gu Feng behind her. She didn't need to look at him, her aunt would buy her clothes for her, and he wouldn't dare say anything. Let's go. Thinking that Su Lily was asking Gu Feng for his opinion, Song Huilan gave him a cold stare, took Su Lily's arm from her grandmother's side, and turned to walk into the women's clothing store next door. Your mother is like that, she's decisive in everything she does. Why are you standing here like an idiot? Go help your grandmother inside. With one hand on her walking stick, Grandma was beaming with joy. Oh, let me help you. Hearing Grandma's words, Gu Feng held out his hand to help the elderly woman inside. Inside, there were 2 people, my mother and Aunt Bai. Each of them was holding several pieces of clothing. Su Liuli stood beside them, at a loss as to what to do, and could only watch silently. Come, Liuli, try these 2 on first. Auntie picked them out, they're a little more mature, so try them on. A set of khaki-colored long skirt and a vest. She took Su Liuli's wrist and led her to the fitting room, pushing her in half-heartedly. The staff at the clothing store watched from outside the door as Song Huilan continued to pick out other clothes. 5 minutes later, Su Luli opened the fitting room door. When she saw a khaki-colored long skirt, Song Huilan froze, Bai Yufeng was stunned, and even the saleswoman standing at the door was dumbfounded. In a khaki-colored long dress, Su Luli exudes a pure and elegant aura. It's so beautiful. With her mouth slightly open, Bai Yufeng can only mumble these words. Luli, come out and look in the mirror. It looks so good. You were born to wear clothes. Song Huilan comes back to her senses, takes Su Luli's hand and leads her to the mirror. It's not a bad look, and Su Luli feels very good looking when she looks at herself in the mirror. We'll take this dress, wrap it up for us. Lioli, try this one on as well. This is what Aunt Bai picked out. A short, simple white top, paired with a denim skirt. Bai Yufeng's choice of style clearly leans towards the cute and playful. As Bai Yufeng raised her hand to indicate, she shoved the clothes in Su Liuli's arms. Similarly half forcing, she pushed Su Liuli into the fitting room. Once again, after 5 minutes, the moment Su Liuli came out of the fitting room, even Gu Feng in the distance was a little stunned. In the past, Su Lili always walked in a mature and elegant style, but I never expected that this time, after changing into the clothes picked out by Bai Yufeng, she would actually have a pure and lovely sense of sight. It's so pretty. As expected, my judgment is still sharp. We'll take this outfit too. Lily, try this one on too. After trying on one, there's another one. Going to the back, Lily simply stopped making excuses. As long as the two aunts gave her clothes, she would immediately go to the fitting room to try them on. Gu Feng and her grandmother sat in the doorway rest area, silently gazing into the distance. At the cashier's counter, 6 or 7 clothing bags were neatly arranged. While Su Liuli was trying on clothes in the fitting room, Bai Yufeng suddenly thought about what had happened in the living room earlier. Huilan, are you guys hiding something from me? Is Liuli pregnant? With a smile in her eyes, Bai Yufeng asked in a low voice. Upon hearing this, Song Huilan was suddenly confused. Pregnant? What pregnancy? Is Liuli pregnant? Who told you that? Song Huilan was full of confusion. Seeing this, Bai Yufeng said in surprise, no pregnancy? From what she knows about Song Huilan, the other party is obviously not lying in this state. Could it be that she has thought wrong? But the way she retches does look a lot like the scene when she was pregnant. It's strange. When I called Xiaofeng before, he said that Liuli didn't have any food restrictions. But this time, she won't eat seafood or any spicy or stimulating dishes. Mumbling to herself, Song Huilan was shocked when she thought of Su Liuli retching on the sofa. Wait. Yufeng, is it possible that Liuli is really pregnant? Shu. Can you keep your voice down? You just said that the baby doesn't eat seafood, right? Of course, people who are pregnant shouldn't eat cold foods. Didn't the doctor specifically tell you that when you were pregnant with Gu Feng? Yes. Song Huilan nodded hurriedly. The two of them discussed this in a low voice. After all, they were both women who had given birth and knew a lot about this kind of thing. The more they talked, the more they felt that something was wrong, but in the end, they still couldn't be sure if she was really pregnant. Huilan, it's useless for the two of us to guess here. Go ask Gu Feng. If it's true, he should tell you the truth. Glancing at Gu Feng in the distance, Song Huilan didn't hesitate for a second when it came to her grandchildren. She strode up to Gu Feng. Watching his mother and aunt by whispering for a long time, Gu Feng had a vague feeling that something was wrong. He got up and followed his mother as she left, and when they arrived at the entrance of the shop, Song Huilan looked up at Gu Feng and deliberately glanced around. Mom, what do you want? Why are you looking at me like that? It's creepy. Gu Feng suddenly felt a little uneasy when his mother stared at him. Gu Feng, tell me the truth. Is Liuli pregnant? Ha? Mom, how did you know? As soon as the words fell from her lips, she realized that they didn't sound quite right. Song Huilan was already extremely excited inside when she heard Gu Feng's question, which was clearly an admission. Yes, it's true. Gu Feng, you hid such an important matter from us. Luli is pregnant, and you dare not tell the family. If Luli has any mishaps, your father will have to break your legs. Chapter 58, The temptation of a grandchild is still stronger. No. Mom, I was going to tell you, I just never found the right opportunity. You must not tell Grandma about this, I'm afraid she won't be able to handle it. If Mom can get so worked up over this, what will happen when Grandma finds out? You little brat, you actually care about your grandma. I can keep quiet, but sooner or later, this will come out. Can you keep it from her forever? Song Huilan said, but she was also very worried. If the old lady really had to know, the future granddaughter-in-law was pregnant with a little great-grandson, and she didn't know if her heart could handle it. Forget it, let's talk to your grandmother about it some other time. How long has Liuli been pregnant? Has she gone to the hospital? Although you don't feel much in the early stages of pregnancy, there are still a lot of things to pay attention to, especially what you eat. Why don't I take Liuli to the hospital tomorrow morning? The chief physician at the Capital No. 1 hospital, I'll call Liuli to make an appointment. Hearing her mother's words, Gu Feng's face suddenly turned pale, and he hurriedly said, No. Mom, I already took Liuli to the Shanghai Maternal and Child Health Hospital for a checkup, and the doctor said everything was normal. We can just take Liuli for a follow-up checkup after 16 weeks. It's only been a little over a month, and we can't keep going to the hospital for checkups. As long as we're sure that Su Liuli is healthy, that's fine. Then I won't contact you for now. By the way, is Su Liuli still living in the dormitory? Do you want to pick her up? She doesn't feel anything yet, but as the months go by and her belly gets bigger and bigger, it will definitely be inconvenient for her to continue living in the dormitory. To be honest, I do plan to pick Su Liuli up. Since you asked for 40 million, I plan to buy a villa near Fushing University and let Su Liuli live there during the week. I see. Why didn't you say so earlier? Is 40 million enough? If not, I'll ask Xiaoye to transfer another 40 million to you. When Song Huilan said this, Gu Feng was stunned on the spot. Is this still the same mother who bargained with him? 40 million is not enough, and she even wants another 40 million. Sure enough, the temptation of a grandson is still great. Xiao Feng? What did you say? Gu Feng muttered, and Song Huilan, who was standing in front of him, was so distracted that she didn't hear it clearly. No, Mom, I said that's enough for now. 40 million yuan is not enough to buy a villa in the Magic City. After all, the price of a random large flat in the city center is tens of millions of yuan. After confirming from Gu Feng that her daughter-in-law is pregnant, and chatting for a while, Song Huilan took Gu Feng back to the store. Su Luli changed into her clothes, and Bai Yufeng, holding the bank card, was ready to pay the bill. Yufeng, I'll pay. Hello, how much is it? Before Bai Yufeng could hand over her bank card, Song Huilan arrived at the cash register before her, and was about to take the card from her wallet when Bai Yufeng raised her hand to stop her. These clothes are a gift from me to Lily, so don't you dare take them. Here, swipe your card. Without giving Song Huilan a chance to settle the bill, Bai Yufeng placed the bank card on the cash register. Madam, there are 12 items in total, which cost 68,900 yuan. I'll apply a discount for you, so it'll only be 68,000 yuan. 12 clothes, costing nearly 70,000 in total. Su Luli stood in place, shocked beyond belief. The prices in the imperial capital were simply even more terrifying than those in the demon capital. The average price of just one random piece of clothing was nearly 5,000. Bai Yufeng checked out, and naturally, the task of carrying things fell to Gu Feng. Fortunately, the driver was also following behind, and Gu Feng and the driver each carried a few bags, turning and walking towards the outside of the mall. There was too much stuff, and they needed to put some in the car first. After waiting outside the clothing store for 5 or 6 minutes, Gu Feng and the driver quickly returned to the group. Gu Feng, stay with your grandmother with Su Liuli. Let's go to the second floor, there are gold and silver jewelry stores there. Song Huilan stood in place, raising her hand to indicate that Gu Feng should follow Su Liuli to take care of her mother-in-law, while she herself turned around and followed Bai Yufeng to lead the way. Bai Yufeng and Song Huilan walked side by side. After they had pulled a little distance away, Bai Yufeng could no longer hold back and whispered, Huilan? How is it? Is Liuli pregnant? She was very curious and couldn't wait to get the definite news from Song Huilan. In theory, she shouldn't have told Bai Yufeng, after all, she had just promised Gu Feng to keep it a secret. But her best friend had already figured it out. And if Bai Yufeng hadn't reminded her, she, as the mother, would still be in the dark. It was only reasonable to tell the other person. It's been more than a month. Really? I knew it was true. Oh my, this is really great news. Standing next to Song Huilan, Bai Yufeng was extremely excited. Gu Feng followed his grandmother in Su Luli, and when he heard this voice, he looked a little embarrassed. Su Luli also seemed to have sensed something, and her big, bright eyes looked curiously at Gu Feng. This child, Yufeng, has heard some good news and is so excited. Grandma still doesn't know what happened, and after hearing Bai Yufeng's sudden exclamation, she smiles kindly and murmurs. Little does she know that if her elderly relative finds out about this good news, she will be 10,000 times more excited than Bai Yufeng. Yufeng, can you keep your voice down? Song Huilan is taken aback by Bai Yufeng's reaction. Oh, I'm sorry, I've lost my temper. Listen to me, go back and tell Gu Feng's father about this first, and as for the elderly lady, for now, just keep it to yourself. Bai Yufeng leaned close to Song Huiran and whispered in her ear. I know. Gu Feng also meant the same thing just now. We need to find a suitable time to tell the old lady. From the first floor to the second floor, Bai Yufeng and Song Huiran kept whispering in front of them, while Su Liuli followed her grandmother, her beautiful eyes looking at Gu Feng. You told your aunt? Song Huiran and Bai Yufeng kept whispering, and with Su Liuli's intelligence, how could she not see the clues? Liuli, it wasn't me who volunteered the information, it was my mother and Aunt Bai who guessed. After Gu Feng finished speaking, Su Liuli's cheeks suddenly flushed with a blush. She held her grandmother's arm a little tighter, her bite her lips lightly, like a child who has done something wrong. What are you two kids playing at? What do you mean volunteered the information, and what do you mean guessed? Xiaofeng, you tell me, what did your mother guess? Being held by Su Liuli as she rode the escalator, Grandma looked at Gu Feng with a face full of curiosity. It's nothing, Grandma, just a little thing. Calmly shaking her head, she must not let her elderly grandmother see anything. Gu Feng was not prepared to say anything, and her grandmother did not pursue the matter. It is normal for young people to have a little secret, and she, as an elder, is not that curious. Chapter 59, Just call her mom. And take the escalator to the second floor. The second floor mainly sells gold and silver jewelry, jadeite and jade, with prices ranging from a few thousand to tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands or millions. Su Liuli, your grandmother gave you a bracelet, and your aunt will give you a necklace, okay? Mom, I already gave her the necklace. What? After finally thinking of a gift, upon hearing her son's words, Song Huilan was furious. Rotten kid, why did you give her the necklace? Are you trying to deliberately anger your mother? Glaring at Gu Feng, Song Huilan took Su Liuli's wrist, her movements very gentle and careful. Luli, come over here and take a look. Apart from the necklace, there's also a bracelet. How about I give you a bracelet? The jade bracelet your grandmother gave you is a bit old-fashioned for you to wear now, and a bracelet is more delicate. Holding onto Su Liuli's arm, she dared not let her mother-in-law hear this. If she heard her say that her gift was old-fashioned, she would lose her temper. Auntie, you don't need to buy me a bracelet. I'm not used to wearing it. Really, I don't need it. Be escorted to the counter by her future mother-in-law, and looking at the expensive gold and silver jewelry in front of her, Su Liuli's pretty face was a bit embarrassed. It wasn't that she was being deliberately polite, but she really didn't want to buy a bracelet. Luli, it's inevitable that you won't be used to wearing jewelry at first, but you'll get used to it after a while. Aunt Bai saw that you still have ear piercings, so after your mother-in-law has picked out a bracelet for you, I'll get you a pair of earrings. Su Liuli didn't react for a moment when her mother-in-law Bai Yufeng addressed her as such. But she is my mother-in-law, sooner or later. Luli, if I were you, I would just call her mom now, ha ha ha. Bai Yufeng was so straightforward that Su Liuli's pretty face froze, and even Song Huilan was a little confused. Yufeng, what are you thinking? Luli, let's ignore her, Auntie will take you to see other stores for bracelets, let's go. Without paying any more attention to Bai Yufeng, Song Huilan led Su Lili along the aisle, looking left and right for a long time, and finally stopping at a very luxurious gold and silver jewelry store. This store is relatively large, and the jewelry inside should be more complete. Let's go in and have a look. Even though she was being pulled in by the other person, Su Lili still didn't forget to look back at Gu Feng behind her. There were indeed quite a lot of people in the jewelry store. At the front counter, there were 5 or 6 people in front of each salesperson at a glance. She took Su Liuli to the bracelet area. Hello, welcome. Madam, this side is full of this year's new bracelets, with different qualities and slightly different prices. She wore white gloves, and the sales lady inside had a very natural smile on her face. Liuli, take a look, is there anything you like? She pointed at the counter with her finger, and Song Huilan turned her head to ask Su Liuli. If you want to give someone a gift, you naturally have to ask their opinion. There are many styles of bracelets here, so there should be something that Su Liuli will like. Auntie, I won't allow you to say no. If you don't pick one yourself, then I'll just have to pick a few more for you. Pick a few more? Su Liuli's heart sank, and a wan smile appeared on her beautiful and delicate face. In order to buy fewer, she'd better pick one herself. Her gaze fell on the bracelets in the counter. Seeing that Su Liuli had started to actively choose, Song Huilan's face revealed a moment of relief. Xiaofeng, tell Grandma, when did you give Liuli the necklace? You brat, how did you pursue Liuli? Idle, Grandma took Gu Feng's hand and stood there smilingly and asked. Grandma, if I tell you, it wasn't me who pursued Liuli, it was Liuli who took the initiative to confess to me, would you believe it? Gu Feng answered seriously, but Grandma was happy. Rascal, you've never been shy since you were little. With your looks, if someone like Liuli doesn't have bad eyesight, how could she confess to you? The old lady's words were very sharp, and Gu Feng never expected his grandmother to say such things. Grandma, I'm at least your grandson, so you shouldn't belittle me like that, right? It's precisely because you're Grandma's grandson that she understands you. Don't joke around, tell Grandma how you wooed Liuli. The old lady continued to press, so desperate that Gu Feng had no choice but to slightly modify the scene of his confession and give his grandmother a general account of it. Gu Feng stood in the hall and explained the details of his confession to his grandmother, while Su Liuli and Song Huilan selected bracelets, and Bai Yufeng walked over to the earrings area to select some. Hello, I'd like to take a look at this bracelet. After staring at the counter for a moment, Su Liuli raised her finger and pointed to one of the platinum bracelets called Star. The bracelet was silver white in color, with two charms hanging from it, a 5-pointed star and a crescent moon. Good lady. The salesperson opened the counter and was about to reach in and take out the star bracelet that Su Lily had chosen. Just then, two girls came to the counter. One of them, wearing a short skirt, came up behind Su Lily and pointed at the star bracelet inside. Hello, I'd like to try on the star bracelet. As soon as the girl finished speaking, the salesperson just happened to take the bracelet out of the counter. Excuse me, miss, this young lady came here first. While she was speaking, she placed the star bracelet on a tray and handed it to Su Lily. Madam, please take a look first. If you are satisfied, I will try it on for you. First come, first served is just a trivial matter, so Su Lily didn't think much about it and was about to pick up the bracelet to take a look. But before she could reach out, the girl standing next to her snatched the star bracelet from the tray. I've seen it before, so I'll try it on and buy it directly. If you're not going to buy it, you might as well look at the other styles first. In the meantime, in front of several people, she actually put the bracelet on her hand so proudly. Young lady, what do you mean by this? Do you know any manners? Song Huilan's face turned cold. Her daughter-in-law had finally found a bracelet she liked, but someone had snatched it from her. How could she bear it? Manners? This auntie, what you said is too serious. You haven't bought this bracelet yet, and we certainly have the right to buy unsold merchandise. Here, swipe your card. Pulling out her bank card from her bag, she didn't even ask the price and told the salesperson to swipe the card directly. Standing in the same place, the salesperson looked at her with a face full of embarrassment. She took the bank card, and the bracelet would be her own sales performance, but how was she going to explain to the two customers in front of her? What are you doing? I told you to swipe your card, didn't you hear me? She thought the salesperson would quickly take the bank card and settle the bill for her, but she didn't expect the other person to hesitate. Chapter 60. Wife, are you pregnant? Madam, this young lady came first, and whether she buys it or not, she should try it on first. Why don't you let this young lady try it on first? The young saleswoman spoke softly and very politely. However, this really made the two girls unable to bear it, and the girl in the short skirt looked extremely unpleasant, her triangular almond eyes looking angrily at Su Liuli. Fine, you can try it on. She said coldly, roughly removed the bracelet and handed it to Su Liuli. She thought the other party had compromised, but what Su Liuli didn't expect was that the moment she reached out, the girl suddenly let go of her hand and the star bracelet fell straight to the ground. Coincidentally, one of the two pendants, a star, had just been dropped. Ouch, why didn't you catch it? Great, it's fallen. As she looked at the bracelet on the ground, the girl gave a mocking smile. What's going on? What happened? At this time, Bai Yufeng chose her earrings and came over, and Gu Feng and her grandmother also followed and arrived here. Looking at the bracelet on the ground, Song Huilan's face looked ugly. This girl, you deliberately dropped the bracelet on the ground. Does it have anything to do with whether I catch it or not? Su Luli's delicate face was as white as snow, standing coldly in place. If you really like it, just say something nice, and I don't mind if you have it. Such behavior is beneath contempt. Standing still, her eyebrows slightly furrowed, her tone was quite calm. Hearing such words, Song Huilan and Bai Yufeng couldn't help but show a hint of surprise on their faces. From Su Luli's behavior, she had always been quiet and introverted, with an introverted personality. I really didn't expect that she had such a side. Oomph, do I need to let you have what I like? It was obvious that you didn't catch it yourself, and the bracelet fell to the ground and broke, so how can you blame me? Yes, it was obvious that you didn't catch it. After the short skirt girl finished speaking, the group behind her didn't forget to add their voices in agreement. Upon hearing this, Su Liuli was not at all angry. Her beautiful eyes were clear as autumn water, and she was extremely calm. Guys, there are surveillance cameras here, so whether you deliberately dropped the bracelet on the ground or I just didn't catch it, we can check the surveillance footage and find out. Just because I don't want to argue with you doesn't mean you can push it. But now you can have your wish, this necklace is definitely yours. After Su Liuli finished speaking, the two girls looked rather unpleasant. They had wanted to make Su Liuli feel sick, but had not expected to make themselves feel sick instead. Huilan, you're amazing. You have an elegant temperament, gentle on the inside but firm on the outside. Your family really has picked a treasure in Gufeng. Listening to Su Liuli's words, which were neither humble nor arrogant, Bai Yufeng silently gave Song Huilan a thumbs up. She should be weak when she needs to be weak, and strong when she needs to be strong. Su Lily's performance is just like the daughter-in-law of all the elders' dreams. Not to mention the two of them, even grandma is shocked. Ladies, this star bracelet has been broken, so I'm afraid you'll have to pay for it or buy it. Suddenly there was a hitch, and the store manager arrived very opportunely. The short-skirted girl obviously wasn't convinced. Fine, I'll buy it. Swipe your card and pay. She threw the bank card on the counter, and the store manager picked it up with a smile on his face. Okay, young lady, take this young lady to the checkout. This way, please. She handed the bank card to the saleswoman next to her, and asked her to take the two of them to the front desk to check out. Excuse me, madam, we only have this one-star bracelet here. Then please take a look to see if there is any other style you like in here. If there is, I can apply for a 10% discount for you. After the manager finished speaking, Song Huilan patted the back of Su Luli's hand. Luli, take a look at the other bracelets, is there anything you like? If not, Auntie will have someone make you an exact replica. It's okay, Auntie, I'll just pick a different one. Hearing that Song Huilan wanted to have the bracelet made, Su Luli hurriedly waved her hand. The price was already expensive, and with the cost of having it made, she didn't know how much more it would cost. Hello, I'd like to try this one on. Sure, miss. I'll get it for you. The shop assistant opened the counter and took out the 4-leaf clover bracelet that Su Lili had chosen. Compared to the star bracelet, this 4-leaf clover bracelet looked even more simple. I'll put it on for you. Su Lili held out her hand, and the shop assistant put the 4-leaf clover bracelet on her wrist. It looked really good on Su Lili's wrist. It looks good. Your skin is white, so it goes well with this bracelet. Simple but not plain. The manager couldn't help but compliment the bracelet as he placed it on Su Lili's wrist. We'll take this bracelet. Song Huilan stood next to Su Lili and, after glancing at the bracelet, directly asked to buy it. Madam, this bracelet is 163,000 yuan after a 10% discount. Scan the membership code here and I'll give you a small gift. The manager smiled and served, pointing his finger at the QR code inside the counter. You are an international trade building self-operated store, right? Do you still need members for a self-operated store? Bai Yufeng looked at the store manager with a hint of curiosity in her eyes. Before entering, she had already noticed that this was an international trade building self-operated store. To put it more clearly, they were buying things in their own home. There was no such thing as a member in a self-operated store. Sorry, madam, there are indeed no members in a self-operated store. Our QR code is just a chat group. New jewelry will often be recommended there. It's okay if you don't scan it. Oh, I see. Then I'd better scan it. Song Huilan took out her phone and scanned the QR code in the distance. After successfully joining the group chat, the store manager took out 2 teddy bears as gifts. Liuli, these are the earrings Aunt Bai bought for you, keep them. Walking out of the store, Bai Yufeng held up her hand and slipped the earrings she had carefully selected into Su Liuli's hands. Mom, it's getting late, why don't we go home first? Song Huilan came to Gu Feng's grandmother's side. It had been a while since they came out, and it was time to go home. With the elderly person's consent, everyone walked out of the mall together. After taking the bus back to the manor, they had a brief chat in the living room. Bai Yufeng got up, winked at Song Huilan, and left. Gufeng, Liuli, you two chat with your grandmother. Xingua, you and I will come with you. Song Huilan got up, took Gu Zhen's arm, and walked towards the bedroom. The confused grandmother sat on the sofa chatting with Gu Feng. When they arrived in the bedroom, Gu Xingua looked confused, not knowing what medicine his wife was selling. What's so mysterious, wife? Something big. Something you can't imagine. Song Huilan pointed at her stomach as she spoke. Gu Xingua hesitated for a second or two before swallowing and saying, Wife, you're pregnant? Get out.